everyone. Welcome to Wanderer's Haven. We are having some fun over here talking about our own various random instances of when we might have gotten a little high at various times for various reasons.
I sadly had no input.
Scandal.
There may or may not be a video out there of Ian hitting on some nurses. Just saying.
Cool.
Just saying.
A nurse, single emergency room nurse, and they were very impressive.
No shame, my friend. No shame whatsoever. Hi, everyone. I am Miko. I am the OK's GM, and I am your humble host and game master for tonight's festivities. Welcome to part 6 of Intresca's Requiem. We will be getting to all of that sort of awesome stuff here in a moment. Got to do just a quick shout out, some quick shout outs. I want to shout out Jeremy for awesome merch, by the way, because
You did it!
Oh, nice.
I picked up the Doggos and Dragons. I'm wearing my Dungeons and Dragons socks.
You had been kind of sitting down, so I didn't see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I hit it on purpose so you didn't see it. But I got my D&D socks on. I got my Doggos and Dragons shirt on. I am ready to go. I hope the rest of you are ready to go as well. Also, big shout out to Jay and Peku and Tabletop RPG Music. They did a collab for the background art that you are seeing, that you get to see in the bumper screens. They're awesome. Check them out when you get an opportunity. And tabletopaudio.com, because we love tabletopaudio.com. They have some pretty awesome music. I love those guys. And tonight we are also going to have the privilege of seeing an animated battle map from DynamicDungeons. You can check out their Patreon when you have a chance. They make some pretty killer stuff. And then last but not least for my shout-outs, I gotta shout out the amazing Beth Mazco, because look at this world map that they have gloriously made for me. They took my podunk crap map and they turned it into something special here. Love all of the work that they're doing, that you are doing with this, Beth. And I can't wait to see what comes next, because we're gonna start drawing like political borders and stuff and turn it into a whole thing. You can check out more of all of that kind of stuff at ysterra.theoksgm.com. And yeah, now that all of that glorious stuff is out of the way, why don't I introduce you all to my wonderful and phenomenal players that we've got here this evening, and we will start with the aforementioned awesomeness that is the Beth Mazco.
Oh, hey guys. I am the Beth, and I'm very excited for tonight. Also a little nervous because Miko keeps saying things and making us all nervous, and you know. But tonight I will be continuing to play Oscar Barrick, and we'll see who he kills that I know next.
He is pretty good at the killing.
So good.
Yes, indeed. Deb, please tell us who you are and who you are playing tonight.
Hello, I am Deb. I am playing Cassie Artezi tonight, a knowledge cleric, and I have my tea and my cough drops ready, and hopefully will remember to mute if I need to cough, because I had a head cold this week. So, yeah, excited to be here and hopefully not die.
It's going around. See, it started with Ian, and then I got it, and now a couple of the other people on the channel are starting to get it, so really we just have to blame Ian. Speaking of Ian, how you doing, Moose?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Call back from earlier episodes. Unlike Deb, I am a man from Texas. What's going on? I'm Ian, everybody, and I play Acris, Shortjock in the Dragonborn Warlock with a splash of, or Warbarb, we're going to go with that. And I, too, am a bit nervous. Before we played all last week, Miko was like, who do you want to send messages to? Tell him now, because apparently we're not going to get a chance to. So excited and a little bit nervous to see what we do today.
I mean, I hope you've got those messages, ready to go out. It's just, just saying.
Honestly, everybody I need is already here. So it's like,
Aww. That's precious.
I seem
There
to
it is.
recall a certain young woman who had their leg regrown that was very dear and special to one Akris Shorjakin, but we will get into that maybe
We'll get into that.
maybe in a future episode if Akris manages to survive the day. Speaking of surviving the day, Jeremy, are you surviving the day? I know you've had a rough one, man. I hope you're doing all right.
I'm hanging in there.
All right.
My dog is also hanging in there, so I think we're all good.
Well, that's who we care about the most. So
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Did you want me to say anything else?
Yeah,
or-
you might want to introduce yourself and who you're playing.
Okay, I suppose. Hey, I'm Jeremy. You can find me here on this channel. And on Twitter at WHPubs, I am playing Zorvir, the one of the few Aarakocra left. And I'm not sure if we're going to get into that tonight. And there's this ball in the pit of my stomach that feels like maybe we are.
We'll see. We'll see how things go.
Yeah.
And keeping this chain moving along, Kevin, my man, please tell everybody who you are and who you're playing.
Yes, I am Kevin, as you just mentioned. I'm found online at the socials at Kevran Games. I'm returning as everybody's favorite wizard, blade singer, Develian Illustriel, who is here to continue to get us on the path to, be part of this rebellion and make sure that Intresca is fully rescued from the tyranny that holds its clutches around its neck of the people.
You shouldn't
Or
talk.
trying.
You shouldn't talk about Beth's character like that.
Oh, what? My brother-in-law can say whatever I want. Thank you very much.
That's true. That's true.
Damn it.
That's very true. Thank you so much, Kev. Those of you that are tuning in, whether you're watching live or watching on VOD, please stick around to the end of the show where all of these lovely people are going to get to talk about more of the awesome things that they are doing on the internets. But for now, I think we should jump right in and tell everybody about the game that we're about to play tonight. Are you guys ready for that?
Let's do it.
If you're ready or not, here it comes. Hello, everyone. Again, welcome to Ysterra, an enchanting world bestowed with magic and celestial wonders, shaped by the divine essence of a dying god. That god's last act, seeding the divine power into the world, creating as part of the evolution of Ysterra, the Ascendant. Powerful beings that emerge throughout history of Ysterra itself and tasked with safeguarding the world from outside influences, and also there to guide the evolution of the people that live on Ysterra. The land, adorned with remarkable geographies from the Aelris Mountains to the Opal Sands Desert, is illuminated by a binary star system, the suns Yedra and Orin, and also orbited itself by 3 distinct moons, Lunara, Lunaris, and Lunarin. The Ascendant, through their divine powers, have shaped Ysterra's landscapes. They have created new life in the world and nurtured civilizations. Though at times their actions have had some calamitous consequences, such as the catastrophic event known as the Illuvance, which destroyed an entire civilization and reshaped the continent itself, or a continent itself. After the Illuvance, the Ascendant realized the need for restraint and decided to distance themselves somewhat, locking themselves away behind a demiplanar gate where they could still keep watch on the world but not have their power affect the denizens so directly. This withdrawal has brought with it a surge in mortal influences, enormous population growth, advancements in technology, all ushering Ysterra to the threshold of an industrial revolution. And with the Ascendant's reduced involvement, the numerous civilizations spread across the major continent of Insaris have begun to play a more significant role in shaping Ysterra's future. The modern Ysterra is a world in flux where the old and the new intermingle. The legacy of the Ascendant is deeply ingrained, but as mortal races rise in prominence, Ysterra is confronted with both possibilities and perils. Whispers of change grow louder for Ysterra's inhabitants, and the stewards of their own destinies must navigate an evolving world and decide what path they will carve for themselves and for Ysterra. Our current journey, however, is one of history. Several thousand years passed from the current state of the world when the Ascendant still walked Ysterra, and when the civilization of Intresca controlled the vast majority of Insaris, only unable to maintain hold on the untamed and wild tribelands that would bear no rulers. We are in the Age of Steel Supremacy. It is a heralded golden era for the ancient civilization of Intresca. Approximately 1,000 years after its founding, a formidable and relentless emperor named Duranton has risen to power. With unmatched military acumen and strategic genius, Duranton assembled the Aurum Legionis, an awe-inspiring military force that conquered or destroyed everything in its path. During this epoch, spanning nearly 5 centuries, Intresca has flourished, not only in terms of territorial expansion, but also in technological and magical advancements. Innovations in metallurgy have made unparalleled carbon steel weaponry and armor. Meanwhile, arcane arts breakthroughs have allowed mages to bolster the Legionis with devastating spell power. The introduction of water-powered forge hammers have revolutionized arms and armor production and have secured Intresca's military supremacy. However, this era has also been marred by the harsh exploitation of enslaved populations, mostly taken from the conquered territories. The wealth accumulated through these conquests and slave labor has led to economic prosperity unlike any other. Intresca's society has evolved, though, undergoing significant reforms. Recently, the abolition of slavery. These reforms, though initially hailed as progressive, sowed the seeds of Intresca's downfall. The slave class, now with more rights and liberties, held no power, and has even struggled to survive day to day. And some have begun questioning the societal hierarchies and injustices prevalent within the Empire. Duranton, blinded by his power, now sees himself as a living deity, demanding unwavering devotion. His tyranny seems to be gradually alienating his subjects, however. Oblivious to the mounting discontent, Duranton failed to foresee a rebellion that has brewed beneath the surface of society. And that is where we meet our players. Their characters, chosen by the Emperor Duranton himself, set out on an epic quest across the sprawling continent of Insaris, virtually to every corner of Intresca, to stamp out this uprising in the east, this seed of rebellion. Traversing its many lands, they encountered Intresca's many multifaceted cultures, from the bustling, spice-scented markets of Carfaroon to the rugged terrain of the Esker territories. Along the way, they engaged with the Intrescan people, seeing the breadth of the world that would shape their journey. And as the journey wore on, they crossed blades with the Reclaimed, a battle-hardened mercenary group that once allied itself with the rebellion. This confrontation proved to be a crucible, as unexpected secrets began to unravel shortly thereafter. The most significant of which being that one of their comrades revealed themselves to be a clandestine supporter of the rebellion. Additionally, they discovered that the sister of another of the characters was not just part of the rebellion, but a charismatic figure rallying the populace against the Empire's deep-seated corruption. Confronted with these revelations, they all have faced an inner turmoil. Their mission, once clear-cut, was now mired in shades of gray, with personal stakes and a newfound understanding of the people, the rebellion, of the grievances against the Empire. They have had to grapple with their loyalties and the ethical dimensions of their original quest. Reconciling the dangers to themselves, their loved ones, the people of Intresca, and the Empire as a whole, they have altered their quest. They have altered the commands of Emperor Duranton, and have joined with the nascent rebellion, turning against their tyrant emperor. We will soon find out. what they do next. So, everyone, as you find yourselves still tucked away in the quaint and humble city, or village more, of Salthaven, you have decided to set about a number of tasks, sending a number of messages out to try and buy yourselves some time. Kira, the sister to Oscar Barrick, and nascent and leader, in a way, of this nascent rebellion, has recommended that you all travel west once again, that you traverse the majority of the breadth of the continent, particularly the western side, and find your way to what she and Develian have referred to as the Sanctuary, a place in which the rebellion is at its strongest, a place hidden away high in the Aelris Mountains, a place unknown to virtually everyone else on Insaris, including yourselves. And this journey, though it will take some time, you are able to do relatively fastly thanks to the resources that Kira and the Rebellion have, being able to procure speedy horses at the start, pick up additional horses when the ones that you have wear down, and if you can keep up the rugged pace that is before you, you should be able to reach the Sanctuary in roughly 6 weeks or so, depending, of course, how everything goes along the way. And so you have the tasks before you of trying to waylay not only the eyes of the Emperor, not only in an effort to keep the Emperor satisfied with your progress and with your movements, but also the century of soldiers that are on their way to you as we speak. The century of soldiers that was given to you by the Emperor himself, the Delverd, a noted and powerful group of men within the Aegis battalions, and led by a dwarven Centaurian who, to put it lightly, does not like the rebellion and the notions of anyone that would defy the Emperor's orders. Now you find yourselves, not only for the sake of the rebellion, but for the sake of yourselves, wanting to very much not cross paths with this Centaurian and the Delverd. So messages you send, in an effort to keep them away, to lead them on a chase that will hopefully occupy them for many weeks, Kira has offered up a location, an older haven that the rebellion no longer uses, as they have many of these villages, like Salthaven, scattered throughout the edges of the Empire. This one was very, very, very close to the wild tribelands, so much so that the lands upon it are a little bit contested. So sending the Delverd on that trajectory, at the very least, will force them to travel for many weeks, potentially being out of contact, but also potentially put them in a little bit of harm's way with the wild tribelands, which are very chaotic and hard to know what will happen. And then there comes the Emperor himself, predominantly led by Develian's subterfuge and Barrick's honest voice. You invoke magical messages, sendings across back to the capital, some to the Emperor himself, some to his advisors, indicating that you have made contact with the rebellion and you are making progress. In fact, you have already snuffed out an organization that was allied with the rebellion, a mercenary group that the Empire knew well, as they had been employed by the Emperor himself at some point or another, before obviously turning against Intresca and Intresca's interests. And so there we find all of you remaining at Salthaven for a few days' time, gathering some supplies, some of you getting to know some of the additional people that are present. I am curious, before we get into the very long narrative that is you traversing back across the might and breadth of Intresca, this is your opportunity now for a little bit of roleplay, for you a little bit of perhaps learning some more of the rebellion, talking amongst yourselves and or other people, other denizens of Salthaven, Kira herself perhaps, sending messages to some of your loved ones and maybe getting some responses. What is it that all of you would like to do in these few days that you have before you have to set out for Sanctuary? We'll start with you, Beth.
Me?
You looked like you wanted to go first.
Oh, God. That's just the face that I have. So, Barrick is in an interesting spot mentally and emotionally with all of this, but he definitely, while they have time here and resources, will want to reach out to Bastion, just first and foremost to check in. I think he's still very shaken by losing him and then getting him back. So he would reach out to explain the situation. Knowing exactly who Bastion is, Barrick is pretty confident that this is a conversation that will end with Bastion entirely on the side of the rebellion. He knows that Bastion has had a lot of criticism of the Emperor himself, and so yeah, it's an easy conversation. But the other portion of this set of messages will be to ask Bastion to get Meryl to safety. There's no one better to task this with than Meryl's own brother. So he's very confident that they're in the best hands they could be. I mean, you know, it's a nerve-wracking situation being so far away from everything, with danger so close to them in the city. But and then he'll talk to Meryl. I think he'll sort of phrase it as talking about his betrayal of the Emperor, but also his renewed commitment to the people of Intresca. And knowing Meryl, she will be packing her bags as soon as he sends the message. So,
well, something to keep in mind that it's going to take Bastion some time to get to the capital. Even if he moves at pace, right? Which he is ostensibly tasked with getting quite a number of your various entourages home safely. So his initial responses to the messages are ones of distinct concern. Not only, you know, what the fuck are you doing, but also what about these people? I'm supposed to take care of them, that sort of thing. But in the end, he does come around to what you have to say. He trusts you. He is your brother, you know, in-law. He will do these things, of course, and he will do them as expediently as he can. So in the end, you know, he ends up putting most of the previous members of your entourages into caravans to head back, as that is the safest way for them to travel in this instance. And he starts his laborious journey trying to expedite himself along the well-traveled path back to Vestaris and back to his sister, hoping that you will send messages again when you know where he's supposed to take her.
Yes. TBD.
Right. Wonderful. And did you want to do anything in particular or of note with Kira or with other denizens of Salthaven or with your fellow party members?
Yeah, so I think Barrick would spend a lot of time just talking with Kira about everything. I mean, specifically the rebellion, because I think he needs as much information as he can get to sort of start making sense of things internally, not just with what's going on, but with sort of his participation and everything. But then I think also the conversations will sort of turn to like just silly sibling conversations about nothing, and sort of getting back time that they didn't have for quite a while. And then I do think that at some point Barrick would finally speak with Cassia and express his immense gratitude for what she did to save Bastion. He has kind of been avoiding the conversation because the whole thing was so overwhelming, and he didn't really have words for a long time, but he knows that he needs to find those words and show some appreciation. So he would definitely reach out to her.
You guys can go ahead if you want.
I just figure, at some point when they have some quiet time, he would sort of like brusquely just come up and I wanted to thank you for what you were able to do for everybody, but particularly for Bastion and me and Meryl. Sorry I didn't say anything sooner, but I just want you to know that it's something I could only hope to repay sometime.
Well, I did not do it alone. And I meant what I said that day. I broke my family a long time ago, and it was in many ways penance for me to keep your family whole.
Well, I appreciate that very, very much. Yeah. And then he'll like awkwardly just, hands in pockets sort of scoot a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah.
And Deb, does Cassia have anything in particular for the next couple of days before you all set out on your journey west?
Yeah, Cassia would send a couple of messages. She'd send one to the leader of the Eternity Archive, something to the effect of, the people will need hope and wisdom in the days ahead. The Archive is needed. Seekers must light the way. And just try to give them a heads up that shit is coming, but not blow our cover.
Sure.
So
she has a strong enough position within the archive that the few people that she trusts with such information, even if it is necessarily vague, will understand clearly that she has knowledge that they do not, and it must be important if she can't share it immediately, and they start making preparations as best they can for turmoil, as the archive has been around for many centuries at this point, and they've been through some troubles, and they absolutely know how to weather the storm, so to speak.
Great. I think she's also still feeling guilty for bringing Joram into everything. So she would send him a message as well and just apologize for bringing him into it. And then just leave him with, your heart is true. Let it guide you when darkness comes. And she definitely hopes that he forgives her for what's about to happen, I think.
Does she ask for that forgiveness, or is that something she just kind of keeps to herself?
Yeah. Okay. Yep. And then before I send one more message, I need to talk to Zorvir for a bit. So Cassie would go find Zorvir and find some place where they can have a conversation in private. And she would just say, things have changed since we left. The society is going to be a problem.
Oh, do you think so?
Yes, I have worked with them for long enough that they are entrenched in the ways of the Empire, and they will throw all their might in with the Emperor.
Sorry, I'm actually not sure what Zorvir would say to that.
Do you know how we might distract them, or maybe we should start a list of, between the two of us, we have quite a good knowledge base of the Dedicants, and we could see who we might be able to start persuading toward our side.
There was one young woman that I had my eye on as far as potentially shadowing me and to be my replacement one day. I feel that her ideals are at least similar to mine, but it took convincing to get me this far, so I can only... I still would like to do this by just having a conversation, and I don't think that's going to happen. So I don't... there are many people that I would like to say, but I'm not even contacting the people in my own organizations. It's those who I trusted are dead now.
Across the way, I glare at Develian. We'll get past it, man. I promise. We'll get past it.
But what do you suggest?
I wish we had time for these conversations. This, for as much convincing as you took, I think I took just as much convincing to join the rebellion. And I think so many other people could come to this as well if they saw what we have seen, but I'm just not sure. I think if nothing else, we need to be prepared for the addition of the society to join the Empire, the Emperor, and to keep that in mind when we go to strike.
It will be a bitter battle if that is the case. There are many there that I would at least like to call acquaintances, if not friends.
Agreed. I'm going to at least send a message to the Luminata and try and keep up the pretense that things are going as everyone anticipated. It's the best I can do for now.
So is there a way that we could show this woman that I had in mind, that I wrote down her name earlier and I left it in that room over there? Her name is now
It's not Cassie, because that's way too close to your name. No, her name is Cassie. It's such a strange coincidence.
Very coincidental,
yes.
indeed.
Yes. I feel like, she could be swayed if we could show her these things, but how could we bring this experience to the capital?
From this distance, I don't know.
Do you think that the rebellion would be willing to gently remove some of these people as they did us, and then perhaps we could communicate with them to explain what's going on after the fact?
We could try. I don't know that they would see it as gentle removal without any warning that something is coming.
I do worry that we would be responsible for the harm of those who may be our allies, but would take, convincing to do so. But it also may at least remove them from any potential, battles in the future. Something to think about, if...
Indeed.
Also, now I'm somewhat regretting the latest check that I sent you all to fund everything that you do. If I hadn't sent that, they probably wouldn't have a lot of resources. Well, I mean, I'm not the only donator, obviously, but...
The Society has a great deal of resources at its disposal. Do not take the blame on yourself.
Well, anything that I can do, Lady Cassia, please let me know.
Thank you, Zorbier. And Cassia is gonna go and send one more message to the other Lumen and say, I'm returning. The Society's work continues. May our influence guide Intresca ever into greater glory.
Nice. Yes, I think that she gets kind of a perfunctory response. It's kind of the expected thing, communication both ways. So it's very hard for her to intuit whether or not they might know of anything, given the sheer breadth of knowledge that the Society holds within its shadowy organizational walls. And I'm curious if this pops into Cassia's mind, whether or not she would discuss something like the Society with Kira, given the obvious threat that they would pose to the rebellion.
I think she would, and I think she would probably talk to Develian and Barrick as well. And just sort of say,
So I'll say then that at some point before your journey, the four of you do gather up in probably Kira's sitting room, not the room that you had been rendered unconscious in and woke up in, but rather the adjoining one that was much more homey and had comfortable places to sit. And not having your hands tied behind your back sort of thing, as the lot of you sit down, maybe over some coffee and tea. And you have something important to discuss, Cassia.
I do. I don't know how much you know of the Illusian Society.
I mean, I know enough about them to understand they are very important to Intresca as a whole. I think it was one of my first forays into the Western side of things, I received a sponsorship, in fact, from someone, from a society member, to help fund my journey to go and speak with some of the far-off culture.
Well, along with their more philanthropic dealings, they control much of the rising and falling of the tides of Intresca behind the scenes. They have a great deal of power and influence and wealth. And I fear that they will throw their weight behind the Emperor when the time comes. And I have a good reason to believe that. So we need to keep that in mind as we plan.
With my time on the Shadow Council, I have heard of this group. I believe your suspicions are true. They support the Emperor in all that he does, and they will continue to do so even in the face of adversity. It is good that you have brought this information to us, however, for my information about them is lacking, I will say.
If you have information that you desire, I can see what I can provide.
Of course. Likewise.
Of course not going to impugn what you say or force you to reveal anything about how you or why you would know these things, but I would ask you what you think might be the most direct threat that we should consider.
The Luminata are powerful wizards and sorcerers. They have a great deal of magic, and I fear that as a group, they are a formidable threat in battle.
More powerful than the war mages of Legionis?
I cannot say that, but they are a force to be reckoned with.
What is their number?
There are 7.
It is half the number of the Shadow Council, -1, of course. I would dare think that if the Emperor has a secret society that has mages powerful enough to rival our own, that they are dangerous indeed.
Well, I happen to know firsthand some of the people that Geronton has employed in the past to do things, shall we say, devastating things against his enemies. So, if you believe that this Illuminata, as you called it, are that kind of power, it's certainly something that we need to consider. And we have a good long journey ahead of us before we reach Sanctuary. If you could perhaps organize any thoughts or notes that you have on this group for the people that we will be speaking to when we reach Sanctuary, I think that would be a good thing. Because, as I understand it, once we reach Sanctuary, all of us are going to be involved in planning a great many dangerous things ahead of us, not the least of which is how we move next against Geronton.
I will compile the information I can.
And as you say that, she kind of looks over at Barrick, and she has an almost sympathetic expression on her face as she says, "I'm sorry, brother. Your retirement from service seems to have been undone. So we're going to be relying heavily on your strategic acumen in this instance."
I don't necessarily mind, considering I have a lot to make up for, I suppose.
What do you mean? What do you have to make up for?
I spent a lot of years working for the will of the Emperor, knowing truly that he's not a good person. I don't know, maybe I thought that we could change things from within. I don't know. But I if I'm able to use my skills to help the cause now, I'll do so.
Lord Beric, you must not carry this burden so heavily. One does not blame a beaten dog for biting back when it is forced into a corner. You did what you had to do to survive Gerontin's tyranny, his, dare I say, madness that spreads across the land like wildfire. You will make it right. It has begun already.
Thank you, Devalian.
And as you guys break up from this, Kira pulls Develian aside and she says, "My love, don't ever call my brother a dog again. Only his wife and I get to do those things." And she has a smile on her face as she says this.
Yeah,
but
Develian gets a big toothy smile as well. And very well.
And what about you, Acris? Ian, what things does Acris have to prepare either for himself or messages sent and such in these days waiting to head back out on the road?
I think in this time spent, like, Acris's focus has been reignited. It's a lot of like early mornings trying to get his mental and physical on the same level. So a lot of like quiet mornings sitting as close to the edge of where the coastline is, being that's the first time he's ever seen so much water, and kind of refocusing his thoughts, as well as, you know, the whole Rocky montage scene of him just kind of like push-ups and sprints, and just kind of it seems as though that he's training, but he's more so just keeping himself preoccupied, helping out with everyone in the rebellion, like just moving things and entertaining like the little ones with like little spells. He's really just trying to distract himself until they're ready to set out. I think in the first early days, the biggest thing he's distracting himself from is reaching out to his family, his mother and his father. The communication between them, since he's been away, it's very sparse. More so of a checking in and making sure you're doing the right thing and kind of leaving it at that. It's like one of those like, hey, your dad's here, say hello to your dad. Hi, Dad. Yeah. And then that's it. So that would be the first message that he sends out to his parents, to see, one, if they've checked in on him, pretty much if they really care about what he's into.
Okay. I think that the responses that he gets are expected. It's the fairly not perfunctory, that's not the right word, but it's fairly exuberant, but not necessarily about him, but rather, you know, the excitement that he is, you know, doing a important task directed by the Emperor himself. So the responses, granted, they're limited because, you know, the limitations of magical sendings, even if you can do multiple, it gets a little bit, it has limitations, right? And so there's a great deal of focus and implication in the words and tone of the magical voices that you hear, of your mother, perhaps, maybe your father on the second or third message, in which, it isn't necessarily about Acris. It's more about, the importance of what he's doing and making sure that he does it well for the Emperor. And, at the very end, there's this and please come home soon, that sort of thing, but there really isn't anything there of oh, we miss you, son, hope you're safe and that sort of thing. It's more kind of, in a lot of ways, it's putting that burden on him, where he feels the pressure to make sure that he's doing what he's supposed to be doing.
Okay. He takes that message, and that's what kind of invigorates him for the next few days of just really focusing, not for the simple fact that oh, I have to do this for my family. It's more so of, okay, I'm alone. It's coming to a realization point to where it's all right, this is just me, because he knows that he's diverting into a direction that is not necessarily what his family wants or needs, or what they think they need, and it's going to snowball, and he's preparing himself for that, or distracting himself from that thought. I think the next thing he would like to do, and before he does it, he actually speaks to Barrick a little bit, kind of throwing a monkey wrench in what I had wrote before. I will interject here and mention that as Acris goes to approach Barrick, after having all of these difficult, thoughts and such, he feels a fiery warmth in the holy symbol that he wears around his neck. It almost burns for a moment, but doesn't cause him any real pain. And he hears a familiar voice in his head. You are never alone. And this is as that voice pops into his mind, literally as he looks at Barrick. And even someone of poor insight will recognize the voice was not speaking about himself, but was speaking about what Acris was looking at in that moment. Cool. I think with that, Acris's resolve softens a little bit, because this was it, before that interaction, his approach towards Barrick was very confused and a little bit nervous, but then at the same time frustrated. And then with that, it kind of softened after that message, and he approaches Barrick a little bit softer, especially from what he's going to talk to him about. And he looks at Barrick and he's, hey, I need your input on something. Obviously we know the direction that we're going with this, and we know the reasoning for it. My family's too tied up in the Empire to where it would take that entire 100 soldier troop to convince them otherwise, and even still that wouldn't be enough. But my friends, I brought them on this thinking that this would be something not necessarily fun, but just something that we could share, and it ended up in dismemberment. He kind of chuckles at that a little bit, or at least he could laugh at it now. I know Bastion is taking them all back into the Empire, and if I know you in any form, I know the next place that he's gonna go is to take Meryl to safety. Do you think it would be too much if Kendra and Rendar went with Bastion and Meryl?
I asked Bastion to bring our loved ones to safety. Your friends are included.
Okay. I think I'm gonna tell him to go with him. I'm sure you told him the gist of what we're doing here, and I probably won't do the same for them, but I'll make it evident that they need to stick with him, if that's okay.
Of course that's okay. Bastion is, he understands. I had to talk it through with him quite a bit, but he understands, and if you're not able to speak with them, with all of the details at this point, that's okay. I'm sure Meryl will take care of that at some point, but
yeah, she's good with people.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. In that kind of like not little kid, but like young adult thing. Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna go do that. Yeah.
Okay.
And he kind of shuffles off. And then that's where he sends his second message to Kendra. And it's the are you okay? Did you get my note? Here's important information, as much as the limitation of message could provide. Did you get my note?
Just curious, did it have the check box? Please check if
check
you
yes or no. Yeah. Check yes or no box. Yeah. Of course.
He basically gets a response back. Yes, I got your note, you idiot. You should have sent it months ago. Why didn't you send it months ago? What the fuck is going on? Of course I will go with Bastion if you say so. Sort of responses. Like there's a lot of like there's a lot of you've been an idiot. Please open your eyes. Sort of thing.
No. I think after getting that message, like Akris, and he hopes he's by himself. I'm pretty sure everyone else with their ridiculous insight could probably see him. He's just like in the corner. He's just like,
he thinks he's alone. He starts dancing like that. When he looks up, Develion's just standing, just blank face, staring at him, and just gets a wry grin and walks off.
What?
The conversation that goes to I'm sorry, what was the baker boy's name? It just tossed out of my mind.
Rendar,
yes. The conversation with
Rendar,
yeah. The conversation with Rendar goes a little bit different. He's scared, like shitless.
Yeah.
And Akris has to kind of play on that fear a little bit without going into detail, being like, stay with Bastion, he'll keep you safe. He's your best hope of being safe right now. And so Akris doesn't feel like he can tell Rendar everything yet until he has an opportunity to be like face to face with him and really truly, be his bro in that instance.
Yeah, that tracks. So yeah, that's honestly basically it when it comes to messages. And then after that, with a little pep in his step, he goes back and he seeks out like Cassia to see if there's anything that she needs from me. He doesn't really ask for anything like specific information, but just anything she needs to help prepare, anything that he should do, because she's been his magical guidance on this since they left. Yeah. Hey, Cass, is there anything you need me to do to help?
Not at this time, I think. We're just sort of waiting. I'm compiling lists of who I can think of who might be persuaded to join us when we get back to Vestaris. You were, heavily involved with the student body. I'd wonder if you might have some ideas on classmates or others who, might join us with a little persuasion. Not that we'll have time to talk through it first, but anything else.
I don't really think my classmates would be, whether easily persuaded or persuaded at all, into the direction. They've been in the same position that I've been. All we've known is the Empire since birth, and a single word against it would send them flying up the chain. And I'll be very honest, me doing that would provide them an opportunity to gain advancement over myself, and it's pretty competitive. I don't think safely any of them would be beneficial. I did reach out to my 2 friends from my entourage haphazardly, just to get them safe. I think Barrick's brother-in-law is going to be taking care of them, but even they still don't know the full gist of what's going on. Yeah.
Yes, of course. Keeping things under wraps for now is definitely important.
Yeah, and until we have anything that we can push in front of their face to where, like it was for us. But okay, cool. I'm going
just
to
interrupt you guys here for 1
sorry.
second. I'm curious, Ian, if any of Acris's thoughts might go back to his former teacher at the academy that had been branded a traitor, and whether or not that would weigh on Acris in this conversation. Because it's worth mentioning that Cassia reads people like they are literal words on pages. It is virtually impossible to hide emotion or intent or thought sometimes from Cassia.
I think that's probably at the forefront of his mind, because it's almost the transparent, like it's the same situation that he was brought to before. It's kind of like a half, what am I doing? And the other half is, this is what needs to be done. It's kind of like in the honor of his former friend.
Is that something that Cassia might press him on?
She wouldn't in this moment. I think she would let him kind of be. She knows Acris enough that she doesn't tend to press him when he's kind of thinking about something or mulling it over. She lets him say what comes to his mind and doesn't pry.
All right.
With that, I think like Acris turns away to walk, like to, kind of like, all right, cool, like I'll catch you later. He turns to walk away and he turns back to Cass and he goes, Cass, in your lifetime, you ever felt you let somebody down?
She takes a moment to answer. She has an answer immediately, but she takes her time, recognizing that this is a weighty question. And she just says, yes, I have felt that.
Does that feeling ever go away?
I can't answer for everyone. For me, it has stuck around.
Yeah. What do you do if that feeling sticks around too long?
I lost my way because of that feeling for a long time. And I feel as though I'm finally coming back to myself in this joining the rebellion. I feel like this is the first true thing I have done for a long time. And the feeling is still there. And there's nothing that I can do to change that. But I have decided to move forward and to do the best that I can by those around me now.
And he kind of takes that answer in stride, and he kind of puts his hand on his chest next to the holy symbol. He doesn't pull it out, but he goes, "You're probably right. You're always right.
Not always.
Progress to perfection. You haven't been wrong yet." I appreciate that, Cass. Hopefully what we're doing here will make that feeling just a little less heavier than what it already is. And he kind of just walks away.
Before he does, I think she kind of reaches out, and like she did with Joram when this whole thing started, she puts her hand under his chin and just tells him, "Keep your head up."
He gives a smile and a gentle nod, and yeah, that's when he leaves.
It's also worth mentioning, Deb, when Cassia, during that conversation, when Cassia was stating clearly that she's not always been right, when she said those words, she felt her own holy symbol radiate, not with energy, but rather emotion. She has a magical ability right now that suppresses pretty much anyone from being able to read her thoughts or alter her emotions or charm her in any way whatsoever. But in this instance, the power of that resilience and magical protection is nothing compared to the emotion that she gets out of her holy symbol, recognizing in her the rightness of being able to say, you can be wrong. And then we will move on to Jeremy. Jeremy, what things is Zorvir up to in these days of preparation, as I think that there is a great deal weighing on Zorvir's mind currently?
I mean, probably not. I mean, everything's probably okay. He's pretty legit with everything. No, his behavior has definitely changed. When the group left, he continued doing a lot of paperwork. He brought a lot of work with him to, be the person that he is and the station that he is within the government. But since then, as the travel continues, or those first nights where we're just kind of settled, or all together, he does try to sit down and do some of his work. And I think at a certain point he just realizes the pointlessness of it. Not only has what he's been doing that he thinks is this super honest way of keeping the government in check for the people, that it's not been working. But it's not all of the things that are supposed to help the people to not starve and not be downtrodden, and the whole reason that these other nations were brought into this empire, they were all just what he's gathering. They were all just to feed this man's ego, if not anything else. And so at a certain point, he doesn't do it in front of everyone, but he does end up taking his like load of paperwork and dumpster fires it, just like burns it, not page by page because that would take forever, but he over the course of the night he just like sits there and burns his documents. But he has a lot on his mind too, and so he has been walking around and is a lot quieter than usual. There's an extra weight there on his heart as his people are dwindling, and any upcoming war or battle or conflict could put their numbers in further danger. So he feels the weight of that, and he's trying to figure out how to warn them when the Aarakocra that are still in the Empire are sworn to the Emperor, and he doesn't know anyone that, I mean, this talk that has been going on the last few days is the stuff that you read in chat books, and it's they're from strange fantasies and romance novels that people read for entertainment. This isn't real life. Real life is numbers and work and all of this stuff. So this is definitely a new place that his head is in, and he's having a hard time wrapping it around that. So he's been really quiet, and he would send a message out. He would send others if the couple of people that he would consider friends were still alive. He would send messages to them, but he sends a sending to his granddaughter, and he says, Arantha, your favorite aunt is he would say, Arantha, this is your grandfather. Your favorite aunt is coming to visit, and while I know you love to see her, she's bringing that damn cat with her. If you could please prepare the household, I don't want a repeat of last time. And all of that is code, because if Zorvir's learned anything, is that when people are irresponsible with their taxes, and then the taxman cometh and takes away things, or they do jail time, stuff like that, they get very angry, and there's been retaliation. And so he has all of these code phrases worked out with his granddaughter to take care of his wife, Varen, and ideally the workers of the place that he lives in and all that. Essentially, he's telling her to prepare for his aunt's, or for her aunt's arrival to leave. Or aunt is really kind of like a stand-in word for someone will be there to guide you out.
Right.
And so Zorvir is hoping that the rebellion will be true to their word.
Sounds good. You end up having probably several conversations with Kira over the couple of days, specifically about things like that, and you discover, Zorvir in particular probably takes note of this more than anyone, that she is very adroit when it comes to the logistics of things, right? She has, without having to reference notes or ledgers or anything like that, she has in her mind a timeline of events and an understanding of when certain things have to take place, taking into consideration things like you can't just leave Ysterra in a day, right? You can't, like, just getting out of town sometimes on foot takes half a day just by itself, right? So there's this like whole web of information that she has in her mind that she is able to share with Zorvir, and I think he's probably fairly impressed by that work. And she definitely is able to convey a sense of understanding of Zorvir's not fears, I guess fears is probably the wrong word, but concerns.
Yeah, and the I think it would take him a couple of days to. I feel like he would respect what she does and the way her mind works, but it would take a few days of honestly him having some self-pity that he's been bamboozled. How didn't he see these things? How is he going to take care of himself and all of these other Aarakocra when, you know, he has no idea who to trust and so much is under the thumb of this emperor. And again, he just wants to, you know, go and talk, and that's not an option.
She will leave him
soon?
Yeah, she will leave him at like the close of their several conversations before they leave Salt Haven with assurances that he will know who to talk to at Sanctuary.
Okay.
That Zorvir, above everyone else, will truly understand why it is called Sanctuary.
Okay. I think by maybe the third or fourth day, I don't remember how many days you said this is going to take.
You're only
to get
in
there.
Salt Haven for like 3 days.
Okay, so probably by the end of that, he's kind of gotten out of his funk as far as the self-pity part, and so recognizing this need for organization, he would step up and be like, if there's anything that I can do to help organize things, if you need things, you know, kept track of or ordered, ledgers
She knows
done.
exactly who to call.
You just let me know.
Yeah. And then we will move on to Develian. Kevin, do you have anything in particular that you would like to do before venturing back west?
In those 3 days that we have here in Salt Haven, Develian will be found and oftentimes by Kira, helping her plan things, giving her counsel, listening to her mostly. And you can definitely tell that there is a vibe that definitely, when it comes to dealing with the rebellion, he very much is following her orders, listening to her, letting her lead the show. He's not showboating like you guys are all used to seeing him do. He's very stoic, very much attentive, observant, that sort of thing. There's times also where he will leave. He'll take long walks, both by himself and also with Kira, in moments of, you know, this solace, I guess you could say, of this connection from them being apart for some time. He'll also spend every day, everyone will notice, and this will continue as we do the journey back across the west as well. He will, and at first it starts very slowly. It's a dance of sorts where he practices with the blade, and he goes through the motions, a practiced form, a dance almost, a song that he can hear on the wind that nobody else can hear, that he knows the movements to. And he goes through, he does all the different movements in perfect succinction, a lot of very specific detail. It's very formulaic, it's very like practiced, it's very concise. There's not fluidity to it, but it gets more and more progressed, more and more emotional almost as it goes along. But yeah, he spends a lot of time just kind of helping Kira with her thing. Again, there's times that you guys will see them kind of by, you know, when the sun goes down, they take walks, and he just spends time being a husband and you know, all the things that entails behind closed doors as well. But specifically, there is some times where he wishes to approach Zorvir, who he has a bit of a history with. As we all recall, the two of them knew one another before this all came to light, and so there was a certain level of subterfuge, a certain level of deception that he had to carry towards his friend. And that has weighed on him even more so than not telling Barrack the truth, being in the man's presence, knowing that he's basically married to his sister. he will try to approach Zorvir actually once each night, and he actually, despite what we're used to seeing, he's at a loss for words. He doesn't know how to approach his friend. There's one night he approaches and he watches at a distance as Zorvir burns the ledgers, and the next night he overhears as he messages his granddaughter. And although he's confused, Develian's confused, doesn't know exactly, aunt, whatever, that's strange. He just lets it go. He doesn't interrupt his friend. And it's finally that third day when he notices that Zorvir's a little bit more himself, and he knows he'll maybe be a little bit more open to talking with him, that he actually, when he finds him alone one time, he will approach him.
More than likely, I'm sitting around brewing tea next to the campfire, and as you approach, you're probably out of sight, but I'm like, you might as well sit down.
Of course. And I will cross over and I will sit across from him. Again, very uncharacteristically, I sit quietly and wait for him to speak first, which is something that kind of, I think, plays a little bit of a role in his people. The Aarakocra, I mean, specifically. Kind of like this is a sign of respect. This is a sign of deference to Zorvir, letting him be, the elder in the situation, even though by technical terms, Develian is at least 100 years older than him. I mean, Develian is 230 something years old, so he's older, but he definitely has that deference. And he just sits, he accepts the tea, takes a long, slow sip of it, and just waits for Zorvir to say anything, even if it's something negative. He has steeled himself against this.
There'd probably be several minutes of silence as Zorvir sips his tea, and then finally, still looking like at the fire and at the leaves swirling in his cup, he says, I know you didn't plan for the deaths of my friends. If that were the case, we would definitely have drawn swords against one another. My anger towards you is not misplaced, however. I feel like, though you didn't plan it, you are still responsible for the death of many people. Had you only told us to limit those who come with us or something, given us some clue to protect those that we care about, then Bastion wouldn't have died. And I know he came back, but not everyone did. And I won't be angry at you forever, but right now I am. And then he swirls his tea and drinks some more. But you do notice, you won't even need to roll an insight. I'll give you this one. His anger has cooled. It is definitely not the harsh anger from a couple of days ago. This is like a much mellower, steaming anger.
Mm-hmm. The words you speak are true. I was, in some part, responsible for those who are gone, and that is something that I will carry. But I felt it best to let you know such a thing would not befall your family. I have made preparations before we left, that if anything were to happen, Varen and Orentha would be safe, secreted out of the Empire and taken to a safe locale. Whether or not you believe me or wish to have that be, I wanted to let you know that it was there.
He doesn't say anything, but you do notice Zorvir can be difficult to read, but having been around him as long as you have, the kind of micro expressions that he gets. There is some surprise there on his face that you had had these machinations in the works behind the scenes, and he like dips his head a little in maybe thanks. You're not totally sure.
Sure. I don't press the matter. I just take a sip of the tea as well. And then I will say, you are not alone out here. Know that.
Nor
Your
are you.
people will look to you for leadership when the time comes. And there is no better person that I know to lead them into the next path, the next flight of victory.
I don't think his sense of humor is quite on par with mine as far as puns, but I'm gonna have to give you a rim shot for that one. And he will
I don't know how much leading I have in the days to come, but I do hope that whatever part I play will make the difference to keep not only our loved ones safe, but the innocence of the realm as well.
We will speak more when you are ready for it. Know that I am deeply sorry for all that has befallen you and your people and your friends that have perished on the journey. It was an unfortunate cost. When we reach Sanctuary, you will find your heart again.
I dip my head and I pick up the teapot and I fill your cup again. But I don't really push the conversation any more than that. Like, I appear content with the silence for now.
I think, yes, we both sit in silence for a bit, and it's a weird parallel, a weird mirror to the one of the opening scenes we had in the first session where we were being very bawdy and drinking alcohol at the party. Right. Now we're sitting here very stoically. These weird revelations that have been spoken kind of hang around us like phantoms, I guess you could say. After a long pause, I would just say, the tea is very good.
Sorry, that one took me completely out of left field. I have no idea what to say to that. That was so random. Damn
so
it.
Then I will leave him. After this will be some time later. We've kind of sat in silence for some time. Develian will actually go over to now I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Miko, that Kira has people that are sending the messages.
You guys have supplies, which include scrolls and sending kits.
Okay. I will, as part of our discussions as a group, I will send a message directly to the Emperor, as you already laid out, saying that basically we have been successful. We have, as you put it, more specifically, I will go into how we came across some of this rebellion, foolish commoners. We taught them the correct way to think. They've been led back onto the path. They reclaimed, we're stirring them up, but we took care of that. I will warn the Emperor, however, that he has a traitor in his midst at the court. That I believe that Evander Talon has ill will. There has been clues that we have found here that I have used through my training and my experience that he knows that I have clandestinely done many times in the past to ferret out traitors and misfits, many of whom, at least for some time until I joined the rebellion, I dispatched quite readily. There are a few since joining the rebellion that actually are now here. They've been turned, whatever. But I plant that seed and I will let it sit. I will send this to the Emperor specifically. I will not let my party know that I write that aspect of the note, however, because I want them to have plausible deniability if something happens with that getting back to me. And then I say we're making our way back west. We're going to a different locale that we will meet up with the Sentry, that we have a key location that we know that we can send them, that we can crush out the last bits of this foolish rebellion once and for all. Once the Century is in our control, we will send them, and we will have Rayless Dawnhammer bring the justice of the Empire upon the fools that would dare try to speak against the Emperor.
All right. I think all of that information that you send is, of course, well received by the Emperor. It is plausible enough to be believable without question, as currently the Emperor has no reason to distrust Develian. It is worth mentioning, however, that he does indicate that the notion of Talon being someone moving against him is surprising, and he would be very interested in your proof, and he will... The best option that I think that you get from him is that he will put some additional eyes on the man.
I will... So this sounds like a message came back then.
Yeah. Because you can always do sending responses, so...
Okay. I will send another message then, however, and what I will do is I will actually detail certain things that I, Develian, did that were more blatant, that I did on purpose to set the breadcrumbs of this subterfuge. I wanted to have there be somebody that there. I was actually going to have there be Lord Prumble, but I think this is just way too juicy to not have Talon be on the hook instead because of his positioning. And so I will detail these certain specific things that there's no way that I could possibly know these things unless either A, I had done them, or B, I had discovered them through the Shadow Council. And hopefully that is enough for the Emperor.
Yeah. No, that sounds great.
And I just go through about the rest of the things I described earlier, practicing with the forms, spending time with my lady, and just helping where I can.
Cool. The evening before you all set out, Kira does bring Develian... Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Ian, you have something?
I do apologize for...
Yeah.
I do. I
roll in here,
the time that Develian is doing his meditative sword dance thing, I think Akris notices it and he just joins him, kind of trying to mimic the movements, and in this kind of like duet as it flows, he doesn't look at him, but he does speak to Develian. He goes, you find this relaxing?
It is one of the two things that I find relaxing, yes.
Yeah. And provides you focus, I assume, yes?
Of course.
Okay. I'm not bothering you, am I?
Never.
Yeah. And still going with his movements as this conversation's going. He doesn't, again, still not looking at Develian. How does one like yourself willingly put yourself in direct danger with what's going on here? What was your, outside of seeing what happened to the people, I'm sure somebody with your status within the Empire could have took a more safer approach at this.
Well, and actually Develian will stop. He'll flourish, and as he goes to put the sword away, it turns into that little quill pen made out of crystal. Tucks it into his belt. He's not even breathing hard. He just turns to you. One would say that the path of knowing the right thing to do is a journey that is already known, already foreseen. Perhaps sometime from now, there will be people who will tell tales of what has happened these weeks, of how we turned the tide of war, of how we five perhaps wrote a tale, a story that others could perhaps view and learn from. Perhaps we were all destined to be here.
So your motivation is fame?
Not at all.
Devilian, can I be playing with you?
Please.
And I mean this out of the deepest and highest respect. I think after everything that we've gone through as a group and what we've learned, I would ask that you speak plainly to me. No parables, no haikus, no riddles. What's your motivation of standing directly in the face of a dangerous situation?
Develian gives you a look, a wry grin, and it seems to say, somebody's finally figured out the right question to ask. Kind of look on his face. And then he says, seemed like a good idea at the time.
And a huge, dragon smile goes across Akris's face, and he goes, Good. I'm not going to call you uncle, by the way.
Please don't. It'd be a bit concerning, I would think.
Yeah, with the new information provided, it would be a funny joke, but I'm not laughing at that. You still suck.
Well, and I will pull the quill out and I snap it back into a sword. That is a tale for another time. Keep your arm up, and I will go back into the motions once more, with him beside me.
I brandish my equal, and I follow the movement.
Mm-hmm.
That's
nice.
it.
Nice. That was awesome. So the evening before you are all supposed to set out, Kira pulls Develian and Barrick together around a fire. She has a glass of wine for herself, a glass of wine for Develian, and a whiskey for Barrick. And she drags the two of them to stand next to her. And she says, looking directly at Barrick, I know this can't be easy for you, brother.
I suppose not any more difficult than anybody else.
Why do you always do that? Why can you not recognize in yourself having to deal with a hardship is worth the recognition?
There's not usually time to recognize it.
Well, that's true, at least. You know I missed you, brother.
I missed you too. I can't... I mean, you were always going to go off on your own. That's entirely unsurprising. This, and he'll point to Develian, incredibly surprising. Still have a lot of thoughts and feelings to work out about that, but if I had to, I guess if you had to go to do something like this, it's more than worth it.
Well, I'm glad you recognize the importance of what we're doing. And she reaches out and takes Develian's hand as she says that.
You honor me, Lord Barrick. You may believe that your sister was ill-advised or perhaps rash to make decisions and to be secretly wed without her family at her side. But know this, it was I who was bewitched by her power and grace. She owns the name of your family, She is a person that I have absolute trust and respect for, much like her brother.
I couldn't stand him when we first met.
That's true.
Same. He can really just grind your gears. Oh my goodness.
Till you meet the real Develian. Once you meet the real one, you understand why he is the one that everyone hates so much.
I can admit that this version of yourself is not nearly as offensive as the other. I wouldn't go so far as to say that I like you. I guess I kind of like you.
How much of that whiskey have you had, Lord Baron?
Just, you know what? I can take that back at any time. I'm trying.
On to other things, brother.
Bigger.
Elendis and Develian were both my most trusted advisors in everything. And now Elendis is gone and you're here. And I need you to be more than Elendis was. I need you to back up Develian when he tells me if I'm doing something wrong or if I'm putting myself in too much danger. Because I don't listen always. I'm a barrack. These are the things that we do. But you're my older brother, and if there's anyone that can convince me well, it's you.
I'll always do everything I can to protect you. You need far less protecting than I anticipated. However, we all need support. I'm trying to see everything.
You can't see everything. That's something that Develian actually taught me.
Well, that's true. I'm trying to approach this as a professional and without my entire history of service to the Emperor and all that nonsense. So I will do what I feel is appropriate. Even if you're wrong, I'll tell you.
I appreciate that. And know that I don't want your service to the Emperor. I want your service to the Empire. I want your service to Intresca. I want your service to the people. That matters more than anything you do or have done. That matters more than me. And she kind of locks eyes with him. If you have to choose the people or me, you must choose the people.
Okay.
Now let's talk about better things. How is my nephew?
You said better things.
Oh god. Don't tell me he's gone and gotten married.
He better
I
not
will
have.
admit, dear, that when I attempted to ask your brother about his family, he told me, and I quote, "Don't ever fucking ask about my family again." It was very, very
And
sinister.
correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't I tell you that would be his response?
It is, but I was attempting to test a theory that given the right bit of leverage, that the man could know the right way to perhaps reveal himself. But he is stubborn, as all barracks are. A actual useful skill, despite what you humans believe. You try to hammer that out of yourselves so often, but it is a useful skill. To not back down in the face of adversity is something that so many other races forget.
Well, not every race of human has a mother like ours, right, Asker?
No, very few. As far as I know, Emin's doing well. He's too much like me. That's very apparent.
So he signed on again for another 5 years?
He did. And not long ago, that was something that made me incredibly proud and only slightly nervous. He's smart and capable, and but now, I don't know how to handle this, Kara. He's just as stubborn, and I just know at his age, I was all in. I was fighting for Intresca. So I thought. And
he is too. He's living
sure.
your shadow in a lot of ways, and probably just trying to live up to the expectations of his father, even if they may not necessarily be the real expectations that you have for him.
He's in a position of danger. He's our direct opposition. I don't know how to keep him safe from us.
Look, I don't know what you think that we have. We don't have armies. This battle will not be waged on a battlefield. It will not be the forces of the battalions squaring off against the rebels in some desert or field or forest. We plan to move against the Emperor himself. He is the threat that we have to deal with. If Emin is away from the capital, stationed in some place, serving with the rest of his men in the Aegis battalions, he's likely in the safest place he could possibly be.
You're right. But I'll worry. I can't stop that.
Well, you're a father. You should worry.
Yeah.
But take some advice from Meryl for once. And know that you raised him well. Or at the very least, she did.
She definitely did. Yeah. Thank you. I feel a little better, I suppose.
Good.
Yeah.
And just so you know, I've got 1 bottle of that whiskey for the entire journey, so, sip accordingly.
Oh, it's so
Is that
good.
a challenge?
Nobody can touch this. This is mine now. You've got your wine.
So true.
And so you all, eventually, the night before you have to depart, find yourself sleep at some point or another, even if it is fraught with the tensions of what might come as you venture your way to Sanctuary the next day. And this is where we're going to take our break.
What?
Thank you, everyone who has joined with us in chat and who's watching us now, or even if you're watching in the VOD, we thank you too. We will be back in just a few minutes as we tend to our beverages and restrooms and such, and cats, apparently. And we will be back in a few short minutes, and if you're watching on a VOD, a few short seconds. So, see you guys in just a little bit. Bye for now. Back, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you all for sticking around, for letting us take that much-needed break. We are going to jump right back into the thick of things here. As our party has gathered up along with Kira, but no other members of the those that reside here in Salthaven. You all have gathered up to start your journey back to the west. So, as the first light of dawn caresses Salthaven, you gather near the large stables at the edge of the tiny village. You have found some solace in this haven by the sea, with the rhythmic lullaby of the waves crashing against the rocks, for a brief time replacing the din of a world burdened with strife. The scent of salt in the air mingles with the earthy aroma of horses as the half-elf stablemaster helps you saddle up their mounts. You cannot help but think that the expertise of their craft and the silent purpose, and with silent purpose, they represent the indomitable spirit of Salthaven's inhabitants. Your supplies are secured, and the wind whispers tales of old through. You urge your horses forward, accompanied by Kira, now donned in rugged traveler's attire. Beric's sister, Develian's partner, the rebellion's leader, is far changed from the young girl that Asker had recommended travel the lands of Intresca in her youth so that she might find her place in the world. The villagers standing outside their shanty homes, their eyes gazing upon all of you with hope, knowing that perhaps now there is a future in which the rebellion is not just a whisper. The former gladiators, Fjorn and Reika, raise a hand in farewell, a silent promise that the spirit of Salthaven will be with you where you go. As you ride away, the roar of the tumultuous prime sea becomes a distant echo behind you. The months and weeks of journey cast shadows ahead of you, and the whispers of more secrets beckon. As you approach the region where Tornara is located, you steer your horses off the main path and take a vantage point on a small hill overlooking the outpost. Through the brush and the cover of trees, you observe the Aegis Battalion soldiers stationed within the military stronghold with their characteristic, disciplined posture and gleaming armor. Their movements are calculated and efficient, reflecting a unity forged through years of rigorous training. The fortified structures stand starkly against the landscape, a symbol of the Empire's control. Notably absent from the outpost are the Delverds, the special century of Aegis soldiers you had previously met. Your last messages exchanged with the dwarven commander of the Century of Soldiers sent them north, investigating the former haven of the rebellion that was long since abandoned, but near enough to the tribe lands that it should keep the Delverd occupied for many weeks. A collective decision is made among you to avoid direct contact with Tornara. In fact, the entirety of your trip should be done with as much discretion as possible, for your faces are well known in the more populated regions. Thankfully, you have magic and skill to aid you in being unseen, even when among the people of Intresca. Part of this journey is also one of service, however, as on a few occasions you must divert slightly to meet up with agents of the rebellion, delivering supplies and information. Kira and Develian both introduce you to various secret members of the rebellion, merchants, artisans, politicians, soldiers, and even some nobles. The sheer breadth and scope of the network Kira and the rebellion has created is astounding. All of them are in turn surprised when you are introduced as trusted members as well. Your newfound experience with the people of Intresca and the rebellion gives your journey through the Esker territories seeming to cause the landscape to sing a different tune, almost. Where once the verdant hills and forests appeared vibrant despite their scars, you now see the wounds more acutely. The discolored stretches of land seem to cry out, a raw testament to the greed and ambitions of the Empire that has consumed them. The shattered trunks in the forest now feel like gravestones, monuments to nature's sacrifice. When you pause to speak to the people of Esker, whose resilience had initially been inspiring to your ears, now they are more attuned to the undercurrents of sorrow in the voices of the farmers and villagers. The weight of history, stained with exploitation and conflict, seems to bear down more heavily on them, or at least you're able to see it now more clearly. As you approach Jorantown, the cacophony of construction is like a discordant symphony, the city's relentless expansion devouring not just resources but the spirit of the land and its people. The wealth flowing into Jorantown has obviously not trickled down to those whose sweat and blood fuel its growth, but instead line the pockets of merchants, officials, and nobles. One evening, as you are camped on the outskirts of Jorantown, you're approached by an elderly woman, her lined face etched with not just her years, but also seemingly the sorrow of the land itself. She asks to share your fire and share stories, and she herself tells stories of the sacred glades that once dotted these territories, the guardians of nature that had been revered by her ancestors' ancestors. With a trembling hand, she offers you all a small amulet crafted from the bark of an ancient tree. It was, she said, a token of the last remnants of a time when the land and its people were in harmony. That evening, you can feel an almost celestial presence among you, as the fire's warmth never seems to fade. The owls and other nocturnal noises seem to hum a tune of melancholy that affects your dreams. As you sleep, you each envision yourselves within a moonlit grove, tribal people surrounding you, participating in some kind of ceremony. Guided by whispers of the forest, they assemble in a clearing with an ancient tree at its heart. Enormous and clad in enormous of the tree, the people themselves gathered around it, clad in leaf-woven garments and faces painted with symbols of an ancient language. They begin an elemental dance around the tree. As these tribespeople danced, their voices rose in reverence. Cordeloon appeared within the branches of the tree, their form shifting through bark, vines, water, air, their voice a soft rustling of leaves. Everyone gathered felt the wisdom and essence of Ysterra through Cordeloon's embrace. They saw visions of lush groves and desolate lands, reminders of nature's cycles and the importance of balance. The Ascendant Cordeloon themselves bestowed an ancient blessing upon the dancers, and as dawn broke, the tribespeople awoke with a sense of sacred purpose. They had been woven into the tapestry of Ysterra, guardians of wisdom and protectors of the balance that sustains life and nature. Awakening from these bizarre dreams, you found the old woman had seemingly left before your waking, with a smell of fresh breakfast simmered over the fire. You ate this breakfast, packed your horses, and pressed on. The weight of the amulet gift, as small as it was, felt somehow like sacred responsibility, perhaps? And even Cassia, in her infinite wisdom, could not portend what it, or the dream, may have meant. Leaving behind the Esker territories, you continued your journey west, into the plains of Carfaroon, retracing your prior steps through the abundant plains. Your perspectives have been irrevocably altered by your recent experiences. Carfaroon itself, which initially seemed to burst with vibrancy and life, now revealed another layer. You observed the immense volume of goods and natural resources that were being extracted from the eastern regions and transported westward. The sheer scale of this trade now becoming apparent, an endless stream of caravans carrying lumber, precious metals, textiles, and a myriad of other resources. You couldn't help but feel a growing concern about the implications of this near one-sided flow of wealth from east to west. It is as if the plains of Carfaroon were a massive funnel, tirelessly siphoning the riches of these to feed the insatiable hunger of the Empire. You saw laborers with backs bent and faces weary loading carts with goods they would never benefit from, and a duality emerged. The plains seemingly an artery of trade and prosperity, but also a conduit for exploitation and control. This realization brought a new sobriety to your journey as you passed through the cacophony of commerce with a newfound awareness of the complex tapestry that is Carfaroon, woven together by trade and ambition, and the industrious spirit of the people of Intresca as well. It was then that your return journey diverged from the previous voyage as you turned not towards the mountain pass between the Zansit and Aelris mountain ranges, but rather turned directly into the heart of the Aelris. Their imposing peaks standing stark against the orange and blue skies of Ysterra, Kira had arranged for exchanging your horses for beautiful mountain beasts of burden known as Valrush. Massive white and black animals, larger than most horses, but with paws instead of hooves, and broad palmate antlers upon their heads. You were able to ride these native mountain beasts more than halfway up the mountainside before needing to turn the beasts loose and then continue on foot to make the final leg of your journey to what Kira and Develian have described to you as the Sanctuary. As you continue to climb this mountain peak, finding yourselves feeling colder, perhaps more alone, as you are certainly the only living beings within a great distance of this great height that you find yourselves, there is a moment where seemingly Kira and Develian both aren't sure the direction to take. There's a moment of unease as you feel a little bit lost. Even they do as well. It's as if the mountain has changed and they aren't sure why. Where there should be a clear marker, an indicator of the direction that you need to follow, there is confusion. And then seemingly, without hesitation, Cassia turns slightly to the south, along one particular ledge, and without really understanding who, why, how she knows, she just feels that is the right way to go. And without any other clear indicator as to the path that you take, and certainly any descent troubling your journey even further, you take that path. A day later, however, something feels not quite right. You continue your path. Cassia has the conviction, she knows definitively that this is the way that you should go, but even she has some hesitancy as you feel the earth beneath you start to quake. Soft rumble here and there, then something sharp, and the winds seeming to howl in the distance. As loud as they might be, they can't stop the rumbling that is commencing from beneath you. The quaking becomes tumultuous, and you all know that you're in extreme danger. In the blink of an eye, you duck and run and find cover and things to hold on to as a landslide seems to open up above you and beneath you. The crevices of the mountain tear themselves apart, and a black void opens up under your feet, under your wings, your hands unable to hold on definitively to the shaking mountainside. You fall through the blackness into utter and complete darkness. Magic, however, is on your side, thankfully, as Zorvir, or the other various magical trinkets that some of you possess, the spells that you have at your fingertips, you manage to maintain and rest your fall so that it is not as chaotic. The rocks tumble beside you, the dirt from above, you see the light from the skies above, that orange and blue of the world itself in the heavens begins to close. The mountain itself seems to seal itself back up as you descend, tumbling over one another, past one another, grabbing on where you can, Zorvir using his wings to guide you, helping with magic. None of you seem to know where you're falling, and then you see a redness beneath. You see something ahead as you're falling safely, thanks to your magic, thanks to Zorvir's wings, but somehow pretending doom ahead. You eventually erupt into a cavern, a cavernous space not lit with any kind of magic or anything else but the natural light of lava, of red tumult rolling through this massive cavernous space. But that's not where your eyes fixate. Your eyes fixate further ahead to a large being, a massive, a massive, monstrous beast seemingly made of flesh that is comprised entirely of shadow and dark energy, tearing itself out from between fragments of a ziggurat in the distance. They are, of course, not the only thing that you see in this far distance as you slowly gather yourself to the ground. And beside, seemingly battling with this monstrous beast, you see two other enormous creatures, gargantuan in size. One of them seemingly made of magma himself, although more of a golden hue than red, and stone and earth comprising the rest of his form, engaged in fierce battle with this shadowy monstrosity. Those of you with any kind of religion know instantly and recognize Rydaus, the primordial Forge Master, an ascendant bearing down in combat against this shadowy beast. But he's not alone. Standing next to Rydaus, more on the opposite side of the shadowy monster, you see another gargantuan giant form, this one made of earth and flesh, Stonscar, the mountain unyielding, another of the Ascendant, these pairs seemingly duoing against this shadow monstrosity, trying to keep it contained. And as you look about the room, you see what has caused all of this trouble. The shadowy behemoth that they fight against seems to be aided by a number of shadowy monsters that have wrecked and ruined inside of the cavern. The cavern itself laden with a vast number of arcane runes scattered throughout the space, some of them having been broken, some of them seeming dull and unlit, with just a few flickering with the magical essences beneath them and absorbing them and seemingly channeled themselves into this ziggurat. Somehow, Cassia knows instinctively, feeling the emotion and knowledge within her holy sepulchre, she knows definitively that this is a prison for whatever this monstrous beast is. And this monstrous beast is being freed. And with that, I need for everyone to please turn over to the map, where you will see
What?
a massive cavern.
Wow.
Off to one side, there is the ziggurat. Between you and the ziggurat, a great many things. Actually, I should switch over to this one and put this up. You see, of course, Rydaus and Stonscar off in the distance battling with this shadowy behemoth, and in between all of you and this fray, there are a number of shadowy monstrosities, fairly large, not quite the size of horses perhaps, but certainly larger than all of you, scattered throughout the room, and they seem to be emerging themselves from some kind of tear in the lava, the void of the lava. They are emerging. There's several dead carcasses of them in the vicinity of Stonscar and Rydaus, but the ones that are on this side of the tear seem to be going after and attacking the runes that empower this chamber, that empower this prison. And I need for all of you to please roll initiative.
Two things.
Great.
First thing, this map is dope. I'm going to start off with that. Once my computer caught up and all of the animation went. Right. Second thing, hell no. What's the role to turn around and go, not today?
Well, unfortunately for you, you don't have any seemingly escape route, as the tear in the mountain that erupted under your feet seems to have closed. So, as you can see from the battlefield here, there's a lot of chaos going on, but if it helps, you don't seem to be able to engage with the shadowy behemoth in the far distance, or the two ascendant that are engaged in melee with the monstrosity, as there's a lot between you and them. You see these seemingly dormant runes that these shadowy monsters are attacking, and they are currently your most immediate threat. So, I need to know what Develian and Acris rolled for their initiatives. I have everyone else's.
14.
19.
Okay.
Also, question, GM.
Yep.
Just because I remember the last time the dudes had bandana colors and it wasn't really specific. And you could tell me if I need to roll for this. From where we're standing, the runes that are grayed out, are those destroyed runes?
No. So the ones that are shattered, so this one here,
Those, okay,
is a shattered rune. The grayed out runes just seem to have lost their whatever magical energy is required to keep them operational, and look like that they are being moved on by the shadowy monsters that have emerged from the lava itself.
Okay, so above table. So I, as a person, know that. Is there something that I could roll to where Acris can kind of discern that these need to be powered up?
You can't. When we get to your turn, we can do an Arcana check.
Beautiful.
So, Jeremy, you're saying that the stream is hearing the weird audio?
It does. Yeah, I was listening, and it's definitely there.
Crazy. Well,
Crispity crunchy.
I'm not sure how to fix it in this moment, unfortunately, so I think we're going to have to roll with it. My sincere apologies, everyone.
Just stop eating Pop Rocks.
Yeah, because that's exactly what it is.
Just like downed a bunch of Pop Rocks and then drank a quart of Coke.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Coca-Cola, of course.
Of course.
Yes.
Tell you what, let's actually take a quick tech break here. We will be right back. Minor technical difficulties, folks. I'm going to try to sort this out real quick. Give me just a few minutes, and we will be right back. Hopefully. I promise. Hopefully. Right, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that Jeremy is monitoring the stream and can tell me if things are back to being good. My sincere apologies for the technical troubles. One of the issues when you start getting all kinds of fancy with, awesome animated maps and stuff. But we are back in the action. We are going to find out now what our companions here plan to do in this horrendously dire situation where now everyone in the group can say they have met an ascendant face to face.
Yay.
Come on, Beth. You don't sound excited. Oh, by the way,
not
Beth,
quite yet.
it's
I'll
Barrick's
introduce
turn.
myself after we kill everything. So.
Oh, it's my turn, hey?
Yeah,
Well,
Barrick gets to go first.
Nat 20, baby.
yay. Okay, so let's just okay. Yes. I will I guess use my... Well, first I'm going to take a potion because this is madness. I have with me on my person a potion of invulnerability. So I will down that.
Probably a good call.
And I'm going to run right on up to the first Yahoo over here.
Okay.
And,
what does the potion of invulnerability do for you?
Well, for 1 minute after I drink the potion, I've got resistance to all damage.
That could be important.
Could be. We'll see. Yes, and taking potion, that's a full action, correct?
Bonus. So I house rule that if you are drinking a potion for yourself, it's a bonus action. If you are feeding a potion to someone else, it's in standard action.
Gorgeous. Then I'm gonna take some strikes against this hellion. So I will pull out my Falk's sword and take my 3 attacks.
Sounds good.
Does a
If you must.
15 hit?
I'm sorry?
Does a 15 hit?
15 does not hit.
Okay, so I go forward with the first swipe and just whiff, I guess. Going in for a second. Oh,
as your blade misses this creature, you were true to your strike. It should have punctured straight into its flesh, but its shadowy form seems to find no purchase against the blade of your Falx.
God. Well, with a second, I find purchase. I rolled an 18 for a total of 29 to hit.
29 will hit, yes.
Okay, yeah, so I make a big old swing with that for 11 damage.
Okay.
And then another swing going through will absolutely miss. So once again, I get fooled by the shadow.
Okay. So as you are up in the face of this shadowy monstrosity and engaged with it in melee, at the end of your turn, I need for you to make a wisdom saving throw, please.
Okay. Oh god. That's a 9.
Okay. As you cut into this creature's flesh with one of your 3 attacks, it turns to face you as you approached, and you can feel this overwhelming sense of dread coming from it, as if it feeds on fear. And in that moment, you have in you some fear, and it seems bolstered by your fear.
Okay.
All right. So, after you go, there's a bunch of... Well, actually, no, that one... So you see several of these beasts, right? It's this one, and then... this one. You see several of these shadowy beasts move on the runes that they are near, and begin just assaulting them with vehemence, causing some significant damage to the ones that are dormant around them, particularly these 3 that are farthest from you begin to show signs of cracking. And you know within you that it is not going to be good if they continue these attacks.
Okay.
Let's see. And then, as this fight rages on, the rest of you see Barrick kind of run in and assault the one monster, and seemingly kind of shaken by doing so. You actually see from in the distance, turning to look at all of you, you see Stonskar, the mountainous ascendant, standing over there, wrestling with one of the arms of this shadowy behemoth. He turns his head towards all of you, and in this booming voice that seems to shake the very mountain itself. You hear him say, "Protect the runes. Empower them if you can." And as he does that, he reaches down with one hand and tears a chunk out of the ziggurat and flings it at one of these shadowy monsters that had just attacked a rune. And where that shadowy monster used to be, you now see a chunk of ziggurat and a pile of dead demon flesh underneath of it, as he just levels, crushing one of the fiendish demon creatures. And now it is Acris's turn.
All right, yay, let's clown. So I'm going to use my movement to go over to this room here. Seeing those two shadowy creatures there, and we're just gonna vibe. We're gonna start with this. Can I make an Arcana check to see if they are resistant or immune to fear?
Sure. Say sure. Go ahead and roll me an Arcana check.
Okay, so that is a 12 on the die plus 7, 19.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that Acris understands the nature of these beings and can tell that they are immune to anything. In fact, you think that it is nourishment for them.
Great. All right, cool. So we're just gonna have to like slice them down. Throws out one of my ideas. So I'm gonna hammer off some Eldritch Blasts at them.
Okay. Just pick out your targets and start rolling some dice.
I'm gonna. You know what? I'm just gonna hammer this first guy that's closest to the inactive rune with all three.
Okay. Go for it.
So that is. So the first one is a 19 to hit.
Yeah, 19 hits.
I'm sorry. I do apologize. It's 13 on the die plus 8. So
21 instead of a 19.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 21 also hits.
Sick. The second one is actually a 19.
That hits as well.
And the last one's a 16.
16 misses, unfortunately.
Okay, so 2 of those roll through, and we are looking at 7, 8, 9 points of damage on the first one, and then for the second one, 9 points of damage on the second one.
Okay.
I'm sorry. If you will allow it.
Sure.
Acris puts his hand towards his back, and he taps on a small rod that he has, not brandishing it, but just kind of like making connection to it, and that changes that 16 to a 17. Does that do anything?
It does not.
Damn. Okay, cool. So yeah, 18 points of damage in total to that first guy.
Okay. So as these blasts tear into this thing's flesh, its shadowy form of flesh, you can see a abnormal amount of damage. You know the power that you wield very, very well. But as the bolts strike into this thing's flesh, there seems to be an external force. Something happens just in the moment of impact that seems to rend and tear at the shadows even further. I need for you to make a Arcana or Religion check, please.
We're going Arcana for sure.
All right.
Cool. That is going to be a 22.
22. You don't see it as much as you feel it. The presence of Vimredal in this room. And in you is more significant than it has ever been in Acris's entire life of knowing Vimredal. There's power here in this room, and somehow he is tapping into it, and he does not know why or how that is happening, but he is. You can double all damage that you do from this point forward.
All right, you guys, we're partying. And that's it for me.
Yep, that's it for you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so now we have some of these horror monstrosities to deal with. Deb's internet seems to be having more problems. I tried switching the map to non-animated, hoping that would help, but does not seem to be helping. Hopefully.
It's just a tech night.
It is.
Mare.
Well, there
tonight.
have been a lot of storms for, I think, most of us.
Yeah.
I was a little worried about my internet connection going out earlier because we had a pretty bad thunderstorm here earlier, but it stayed true. So, this horror here comes running over and begins to attack at this rune. Let's see, not that one. This one continues to attack the shadowy, darkened rune. I should say this one here. Shadowy, darkened rune as well. And then this one down here also. So you can see that these runes that are farthest from you are currently taking the biggest brunt of these attacks. And you are fairly certain that if you don't do something soon to these monsters, they are going to probably succeed at breaking at least one more rune. Develian, you are up.
Excellent. Well, because of my internet, I don't have the map under my control, so you guys will have to move me. But what I'm
Sure.
going to do is, Develian has that quartz crystal quill come out, and he flicks it, and once again, it is a very familiar-looking mage blade. He is going to just flick his wrist slightly, and he's going to Misty Step through the sword, because he has that spell stored within it. He shifts over, and he appears on the... I can't really describe it as well as probably we could, but in the top center there is one of the runes that one just moved to attack it.
All the way up there. Sure.
It's right below
you
Beth. I'm on your
you can
circle.
move and Misty Step and cover that distance. Are you trying to
Yeah.
get into melee with the shadow?
I'm gonna do something else to the shadow, but yeah, I Misty Step over to there, and I am on top of the seal when I come out of the Misty Step.
So
there's
just
like
so
a
you
blue
know, these
smoke.
magical runes are large three-dimensional constructs
Cool.
of
All right, well, I'll
stone
be right next
and
to one.
magical energy. So you can't
That's fine.
really... I wouldn't recommend standing within them. We'll say.
Okay. I thought it was I was thinking like a manhole on the floor, so that's fine.
No.
So
Yeah,
I'll be standing next to it. Yeah, right there by that thing right there.
that is my bad not describing that well enough. I
all good.
apologize.
No, you're fine. You are fine.
Do you have anything else?
No, that's it.
Oh. Is it an action for you to do the quill?
Well, it's a bonus action for me to turn it into a sword. You said I moved, and then the Misty Step channeled through the sword is an action.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. That is going to then bring us to more of these demons and such. So just figure out which ones they are. Oh, okay. So we finally get our first attack. So Develian, using his magical shadowy transportation, dips into the space, and this horror Oh wait, am I wrong about that? Nope, I am correct. Okay, this horror ends up attacking, or demon rather ends up attacking him. And let's
As he
see.
attacks me, he has disadvantage due to my cloak of displacement.
That is good to know. Okay, so he gets to do 2 swipes with his claws. That is a 17 and a 16.
The 16 will... actually, no, I'm sorry. They both hit.
Okay.
Because I'm not in the blade song yet.
Did you want to do a shield?
Yeah, but it's only going to help me against the one of them, and the other one will still hit because my armor class is 16. So,
But it's plus 5 to your armor class, so your armor class would become 21 for the rest of the turn. Until the start of your next turn, you would have an armor class of 21.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that then.
I mean, if you want to take some damage, I'm fine with it.
That's not how I thought the spell worked. But that's how you're saying it works. That's fine. I will do that.
Yeah,
then.
the shield spell lasts until the start of your next turn.
Cool. Then yeah, I'll do that.
Definitely. All right. But you deflect both of his clawed strikes off of your shield, and I need for you to make a wisdom saving throw, please.
Wisdom saving throw is going to be a 17.
You succeed. You feel this sensation of this creature kind of snarling and writhing in the space next to you, and it seemingly is trying to evoke this sense of dread and fear, which you shake off with relative ease. And then we've got some more of them. Yep. This one also, this one here continues to attack a rune. Nope. Nope. My other... Is it these guys? Oh, it's these guys. Okay. Yep. So yeah, the runes just are taking the brunt of all of these assaults. Barrick has one of them come over and attack him.
Okay.
He also gets... He doesn't have like disadvantage or anything weird like, stupid blade singers do, right?
No.
Oh, okay, cool. So he gets to do a couple of normal swings upon you. The first one is only a 12, but the second one is a 23.
The 23 will hit. I
Okay.
am resistant to damage, though, so
Yep.
that'll factor in.
And it's probably a good thing that you did the resistance to all damage, because as his claw strikes into you, you brace yourself for a rending of, tear across your shoulder. And as his form, or as his claw slides into your form, it passes through you, and you feel this eruption of pain in your mind. As with resistance, thankfully, you only take 13 points of psychic damage.
Ow.
And because you already did a wisdom saving throw this turn and failed, you do not have to do another one against their fears. And that brings us to Zorvir.
Well, so there's the thing about Zorvir. Zorvir has seen combat before in little skirmishes with mortal people on the surface of the planet. He has never been in a situation like this. So I'm looking around completely bamboozled. I see everyone just rush off. And
I don't think any of the people involved in this combat, except for maybe the Ascendant, have been in a combat like this.
Right? And it also has been years since like actual combat that he's been in, besides that like little scuffle at the thing. So he's a little bamboozled, but he is he sees everyone run off and start attacking, and his like guardian instincts kick in. Unfortunately, Develian is too far away, but he takes to the air and goes to here and casts his hands out, and from them these like bird spirits fly out to the rest of my party. And as they get to their backs, they spread their wings and essentially like it looks like they're going to land on them, but instead they like seep into them and empower them. I cast Beacon of Hope. Everyone except for Develian, sorry, you're too far away, has advantage on wisdom saving throws and death saving throws, and if you're healed, you regain the maximum hit points possible from that healing for the next minute.
So Beacon of Hope, correct me if I'm wrong, that's an aura spell, right? It stays up?
It says casting time 1 action, duration, concentration up to 1 minute.
Oh, okay.
You're thinking the healing spirit one.
Right, yeah, I was thinking of it
differently. You like conga through?
Yeah. So, all of your companions, you immediately feel and also hear a song in your minds that bolsters within you, and you gain the immediate effects. And just to double check, that's advantage on all saving throws, or
wisdom saving throws.
Just
wisdom and death saving throws.
Ironically, both of which could become very important,
right,
in this particular fight.
And then
it's the song of Intresca, which is "Come On, Eileen." It's a callback. Everybody.
Love it. As a bonus action, he looks between them, between Barrick and Akris, and he really isn't sure what to do here, but he pulls out his rapier and he just throws it through the air over at the one that's on the upper side of the column next to Akris. So here.
Okay. Oh, if I could, I don't know if this is I don't know if this is allowed or if this could like change. I would like to have Akris kind of just look at you real quick and see that you're like deciding between the two, and he just points in the direction of Barrick. Like he just goes, like he, yeah.
You do see him eye this column, and it seems like that's his deciding factor. He throws the sword over here so that we can hopefully stop them from taking out this column. And it will take, so as a bonus action, sorry, hang on, let me click over to my sword. As a bonus action, I could toss it in the air and it will fly up to 30 feet and attack a creature of my choice within 5 feet of it. So it should land here. And
you can move that token, so feel free to move that sword that I summoned there for you.
All right. It swings when it gets there. We are going to go with a natural 1.
That misses.
I feel fantastic about that. It's a good start.
Yeah, no, it's a great start. I put the yellow ring around Zervier, by the way, to indicate that he is flying.
Perfect.
Currently.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm assuming you're flying like 30 feet up, basically?
About 15 feet, because he didn't like go 30 feet up and forward. He kind of angled that.
Okay.
How many hells does this world have?
I mean, the hells of the multiverse exist as you expect in normal
like
D&D parlance.
Would he, if I were like, 9 hells, would that make sense? Okay.
That would make absolute sense to someone knowledgeable in such things, which are very, very few people. Cassia is one of them, for sure.
Maybe I've picked that up from Cassia swearing. Who knows?
That's entirely plausible. All right.
That's the end of my turn.
Awesome. So next we have Kira. It is her turn. She is surprisingly like at her wits in this circumstance, and doesn't seem to be suffering what anyone would attribute to someone being new to seeing battle. And she moves a little bit closer to Barrick, just to be a little, or to ask her, to her brother, just to be a little bit closer to him. She calls out thanks to Zorvir as she moves forward, and reaching down into her belt, she retrieves from her waist this wand, and she flicks it and evokes a word of power. In doing so, and a blast of magical force shoots out past Barrick and erupts in the space in front of him, blasting both of the creatures that are there. They have to make Constitution saving throws, which unfortunately they're actually pretty good at. One of them did fail. The other one unfortunately succeeded with a natural 20. And so the one immediately in front of Barrick, the one that he had attacked with his sword, is the one that I will say failed. He takes a burst of force damage, and the demon next to him takes a smaller amount of that same force damage. And she, being knowledgeable in things arcane, Barrick, you hear your sister call out behind you, "Don't stay engaged with them for too long. They're going to eat your mind." And that is going to bring us to the rest of the shadowy thing's turn. So the one, let's see. Oh, I think I actually did that out of order. You know what? That's fine. So Barrick is going to get another couple of attacks. The first one is another 12 to hit. The second one is a 18. Does 18 hit Barrick?
Yes.
Okay. So that is another claw on Barrick. Oops, that's the wrong dice. I should probably be rolling the correct dice, huh? Yep, there we go. Barrick, with his invulnerability thing, takes 9 points of psychic damage.
Cool.
And then, let's see here. This is E, F. It's up to there. Yeah, luckily for you guys, they couldn't actually engage too much with you. But you get a sense that you need to do something quickly, as the runes themselves aren't going to hold out for too egregiously long. Cassia, Deb, it is a good thing that you were last in initiative. Glad
Indeed.
you're back. Glad you're back.
My internet's hanging on for now, so that's great. I don't have the map up because my internet. How many people?
Here, I will zoom in a bit.
Great.
So you can see things. This is you back here.
Okay. How many of our party can I get within 30 feet of?
If you were to move, you could get everyone except for Develian.
Okay, I'm gonna move up then, and I'm gonna cast Bless at 2nd level and hit the 4 of us with Bless. Sorry,
Okay.
Develian, you're too far away.
Okay.
Thanks.
So are you not hitting Kira then?
Oh, I forgot she was right there. So
Yep.
3rd level, yeah.
Okay, cool. Hashtag blessed.
Oh no.
Great. So everyone can add a D4 to
Thank
attack
you.
rolls or saving throws.
Thanks, Cassia.
You're welcome.
Did I get that too?
You.
You kind
You
of far
did.
up there.
Yeah, you did.
Does that bless include yourself?
It should, yeah.
Okay, cool. Just making sure. It's been so long since I played a character that could cast bless that I don't remember how many people you could affect with things. So I'm just going to trust you and say you're right. Are you doing anything with your bonus action, Deb?
No, I am not.
Okay, cool.
Since I
That
just
brings us
cast
back
a
to the top of the round. Asker Barrick, are you going to actually do something this turn?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I
Other
guess.
than take damage.
But I do it so well.
You do it better
okay,
than
yes.
everyone else in the party, in fact.
That's what I'm here for.
Because you're a thick boy.
Very thick. I'm making some attacks with my sword again. That's a 27 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
Fantastique. For it's 14 damage. 1 slash through. He'll come around again with another 22 to hit.
That also hits.
Fantastic. All right. And that's another 11 points of damage. And he'll follow through with one sort of coming downward. And we'll see how that does. 14.
That's
Bummer. Okay. I then will use my brain because my sister told me to do something and I'm not an idiot. So I'm going to listen. I'm going to use my bonus action to disengage and just sort of bop around here just so that I'm not in like direct contact. But I also don't want to go too far from them because, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Just pointing out you left your sister very exposed, and I thank you for that. But on the plus side, you don't have to roll that wisdom saving throw at the end of your turn.
Well, according to her orders, the people are more important than her. So Barrick is just, he's doing
Don't you fucking bring that up, man. That's
doing what he's got to do.
I knew it. Foreshadowing. I knew it.
If you kill my sister, man, I swear to God.
Hey,
It's okay. I'll just bring her right back.
I'm not
Okay.
the one. I'm not the one who left her exposed. Just saying. So,
All right, killer.
at the end of your turn, actually, I need to come over here and check. Oh, this guy's dead, because that's what ascendants do.
Things.
So let's see. I'm looking for. Nope. I'm looking for this guy. So this rune down here at the very bottom of the map that is dormant in gray, you see crack heavily as this shadowy fiend tears into it. And you are fairly certain if you don't do something about that in the immediate, it's going to be problematic. I'm sorry. I forgot to have Cassia please roll an Arcana check on her turn. Last turn, to learn about this space.
$23.
Okay. 23, you feel an overwhelming presence that you have felt only on a rare occasion before in Cassia's life has she felt the presence of Alpraxis, and she can feel him in this space. She can't see him, so she is assuming with her vast knowledge that he is manifesting through her to be in this space. And you know inherently that you need to channel your own magic into a dormant rune to alight it again. It needs to be a spell of at least 4th level to give it any kind of power. And if that can be done on that rune before it takes another strike, you know that you can prevent it from falling to being shattered by the fiends. You also know that based on the number of runes that are in this space that are currently illuminated, if one of these lit runes becomes dormant from being attacked by these fiends, that could very well be enough to free the shadowy behemoth that the Ascendants are currently battling. So, with that being said, the rune down here cracks further to the point of almost shattering, and this rune as well in front of Acris does the same. And then as that happens, a roar erupts from Rydaus, and as he roars, a gout of lava just blows from this space here in the center of the map and just bathes this horror here in pure, unadulterated power of the core of Ysterra, and it falls dead, seemingly evaporated in the space, as the Ascendants are trying desperately to help you in you helping them. And that brings us to Akris Shorjokin.
So fire is the thing.
Yeah, they don't seem to be resistant to lava. They might be resistant to fire, but lava's a whole nother ball game.
Oh, great. Okay. Cool. So after kind of feeling that like little burst of power, Akris is going to move kind of around the rune here.
Okay.
And he actually needs both of the horrors to make a Constitution saving throw.
All right. Can I ask what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm gonna use my breath weapon against them.
Okay, cool. So Constitution saving throw, one of them got a 14 and the other got a 16.
The 16 meets, the 14 doesn't.
Okay, so the 16 does succeed.
So
I will say that the 16 was the one that was closest to you.
Oh, okay. I'm still gonna let that breath weapon go, and that's 3d10. I only do it once. 15. So it's 19, and then with the bolster, that's what is that? What is that?
You said 19? 38.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's going to be 38 points of damage.
And this is the one that you had damaged previously, right?
Mm. Yeah. Because I think the other one moved around it, which needed me to move. Because before, they were in a straight line the other way.
All right. So this is acid breath, right?
Yeah.
So tell us all, please, how this thing becomes non-existent as your acid breath just envelops it.
I think it's so it's kind of like Akris kind of like braces himself because he doesn't know like the force that it's going to push back, and you can see like just I'm talking like Godzilla plasma ray. It's just coming up through his chest, through his neck, and it's this bright radiant purple, and he aims his head down and it just explodes full like Dragon Ball Z style right in their direction. For some reason the guy in the front, he kind of just dodged a little bit, but his buddy took the brunt of it, and as you can see, like the blast hits, all you see is light, and then the body just disintegrating away.
Nice. So yeah, the one that was kind of in the front had the wherewithal. He kind of saw you coming, more or less.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And kind of ducked out of the way just enough as the acid flies over. And he doesn't take like half damage or anything, right? He like full dodges it.
You know what? That's a good question. Give me 1 second.
No, he still takes half damage. So
yeah,
he still got he still got a little bit messed up. And also for what it's worth, because we're using the cool version of Dragonborn where your breath weapon is part of your attack action. If you closed into melee with him, you could take a melee strike against him. And
you know what? I still have remaining movement left to do that.
You do, in fact.
I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna get in melee range of him, and yeah, we're just, you know what? Would it be outside of it to? I know since I'm very close, it would probably be a disadvantage to hit him with the Eldritch Blast.
So the Eldritch Blast, remember, is a spell. That's not part of an attack action. And you had to take an attack action to do your breath weapon. So you can get off a melee strike on him, but you won't be able to do much else.
No, I'll hit him with my my Ilka. Just kind of like stab right up the middle.
Go for it.
Okay. Boom. 19 to hit.
That hits.
Beautiful. And that's going to be... Oh, that's beautiful. 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 points of damage. It's 10 complete, but then with what you had provided me, double on that, correct?
Yep. You're basically doing double damage on any dice rolls that you do.
10 points of damage.
20. You rolled 10, doubled to 20, right?
Yes, that's
okay.
Correct.
Yeah, so as you pull out your Iqua and just careen it down into this thing's chest, you can not this up close, you're able to see this golden radiant light, like a light along the very fine edge of your blade, and just cut into the shadowy essence of this creature's form as you tear into its flesh, and it recoils away from you. As it recoils away from you, it attempts to invoke, because it's the end of your turn, attempts to invoke and feed upon any fear that you might have, and its face turns into an expression that you can only surmise is shock and horror as it becomes afraid for the first time in its existence of you.
Ooh. I think Akris just like a very small grin, and he's like, "It's time to play." Just like having fun. I personally am having fun too. But that's it for me.
All right. Develian, this horror that is just north of you, is going to send a couple of claw strikes your way. Thankfully, you have not gone yet, so you still have the benefit of the shield spell. And since this is actually the first time that one of these horrors has attacked one of you, because I screwed up and rolled the wrong thing against Barrick, you can see that this version of this beast is slightly stronger and seems to lash out with more rapidity on. So the first attack against you is only a 15, so that obviously misses. The second attack, however, is a 21. Does that still miss with your...
That'll match the armor class with the shield spell.
Okay, so he does strike at you. This is also psychic damage, if that makes any difference for you at all, as he does 24 points of psychic damage on you.
One of my 5th level spell slots explodes out of my body, and all that damage is negated because I'm a blade singer.
Okay. Well, that changes things a little bit. As this burst of energy, this arcane manifestation of power just erupts around you, absorbing all of the energy of his claw that seems to pass through your form, he recoils as well. And yeah, does not get to do his cool, awesome thing because he didn't do damage to you. Great. Awesome. Love that. Fucking blade singers, man.
Love that for you. That's amazing.
All right. Where was I? Oh, yeah. C. Okay. Is that actually this one? Nope.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna realize that requires my reaction. So I can't do that because I used the shield spell.
You are correct.
So
Amazing.
never mind. That would have been so awesome. I've
Do
been
take
waiting
that damage.
5 episodes to use that. It's all good. It's all good.
In your head, that's what happens. And
In my head canon, that was amazing.
Right.
Yeah, but then you feel
One
the
hit me.
pain of the psychic
That's
energy rippling
That's
through
fine.
your mind to compensate as you do take the 24 points of damage. And I need for you to make
24.
a wisdom saving throw, please.
18 plus, I think it's plus 6. Hang on a second. 18, yeah, plus 6, 24.
You feel all of your emotions being drained from you, and you have the wherewithal to, rather than have them being ripped from your form, you suppress them naturally. You find a focus. You've reached that meditative state where you set aside your emotions before this creature can feed upon them, and it does not get to bolster itself from attacking you.
Good.
Let's see. That one does not get to go. Okay. This rune down here at the very bottom of the map shatters. And you cannot revive it as this monstrous beast tears into it with its claws and prevents you from being able to recover it. And
Like
that
at
brings
all, there's nothing that we could conjure.
not with these demons present. If you had time,
Okay,
potentially you might be able to do something. But at the moment, there doesn't seem to be anything that you can do as it shatters in its space. And that brings us to Develian. It is your turn, sir.
Excellent. I will, with the flick of my wrist, I will enter into the blade song. So therefore, I become faster, quicker, stronger, all those great things that we love. With a fluid and deft motion, I'm going to reach behind me. There's a spell component pouch on the small of my back, a small little bead about the size of a marble. I flick out into my fingers, and I throw it underneath my arm that wields my sword. It goes flying off to my left. There is a demon. It looks like maybe a dead demon next to a one of the seals that is out.
Mm-hmm.
It explodes right at the feet of that demon as I throw a bead of force at it.
Oh,
It
okay.
engulfs so it's going to explode. And to tell you exactly what that does, let me bring it up here. So the bead of force, I throw it. It's a 10-foot radius. That creature needs to make a dexterity saving throw or take 5d4 force damage as it explodes.
Okay. That is a 4.
Okay. I don't think a 4 is going to beat the 15.
No.
So 5d4 is going to be 3, plus 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5, plus 4 is 9, plus 1 is 10. Takes 10 points of force damage. However, that bead, when it explodes, there is like a globe of force that surrounds that area, and that creature gets trapped within it.
All right. So I'm just going to put a restrained marker upon this creature because it really isn't going to be able to do much.
And what sort of action would you consider that to be?
Throwing the bead would be an action.
Okay. Then that is, I believe, all I do. Let me double check the blade song, make sure I don't do anything else. That is it.
Is entering the blade song a bonus action?
It is.
Did you want to do that?
Yeah.
Don't you get benefits for doing that, or did you already do that last time?
My speed and my armor class go up, and I can concentrate on spells better.
I mean,
And I can make an extra attack with a weapon if I've already attacked with a weapon.
right.
So I would have
and-
3 attacks per round like Barrick, but
Sure.
I didn't attack with a weapon. So
Okay.
don't
So
worry,
you
I'm
are
trying to
in-
be as badass as everybody else, I promise.
you are in the blade song now?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Phoenixy Wacky, for the raid. You have joined just in time as we are going overtime here. My apologies to everyone for this immense battle with lots and lots of shadowy, fiendish creatures attempting to free their shadowy overlord, while 2 gargantuan ascendant, practically demigods, attempt to keep the shadowy behemoth at bay, and our heroes attempting to seal the runes to imprison this beast and keep it from escaping further. That is the end of your turn. You've got some more demon-y things. This guy sends another crack into this rune over by the lava. You know that fairly soon it's going to end up getting shattered. And nope. Oh, let's see. So, Beth, since Barrick is technically closer than his sister, I'm going to let you roll a d20 with advantage. And if you get above 10, it's going to go after you and not your sister.
Love that.
Let's go, Beth.
Oh yeah. 15.
Okay. This demon comes rolling in and unleashes a couple of attacks on you. So the first attack is a 14 to hit, I believe misses, and the second attack is a 17 to hit.
That just hits.
Okay. Then you are going to take, you still have your resistance to everything, so you take 9 points of psychic damage.
Okay.
And since you took damage on your turn, or on its turn, I need for you to make a wisdom saving throw, please, because you have not done one this turn.
Oh, okay. That is a natural 20 for a 26.
You succeed, and you do not feel any fear escaping you, bolstering this creature that has just attacked you.
Sick.
Let's see. Where's my... Oh, my other one is up here attacking Develian. So, Develian, you have another one of these demon-y things attacking you. The first is a 13 to hit. The second is a 19 to hit. So the 19, I believe, will hit unless you're going to pull some more shenanigans on me since you got your reaction back.
Yeah.
Anyone going to wager that we have shenanigans incoming?
I will. I'll use a shield spell.
Do it.
Okay.
Up my armor class to 24, and that'll miss.
All right. Oh, I love the shield spell. Actually, I really do. I think it's a great spell.
Best.
Well, it's even better now that I know how it works. So that's...
Yeah. Zorvir, you're up, sir.
All right, so important question. Cassia, did you mention these facts that you have gleaned out loud?
We'll
I
assume
would
yes.
have yelled yes.
Awesome.
Yep, absolutely.
I hope so, because I wouldn't have thrown that bead of force had I not known. Stop those guys from breaking shit.
Excellent. Then I am going to fly forward. I will glance down at Acris and say,
Great stories of your deeds will be told.
and whether you find that inspiring or not, a sense of inspiration comes over you. And you have a d10 to use as a bardic inspiration. What's more, when you roll your bardic inspiration, you're going to roll 2d10 and take the highest.
Yeah.
Nice.
Just so you know. So that's my bonus action.
Inspiration with advantage, a core feature of the bard from the College of Legends, I do believe.
And you could, if you have inspiration, it's like the two favorite things is one, you roll your inspiration at advantage, and two, if you have inspiration, you go to 1 hit point if you go to 0 instead of going to 0. Like, yeah.
Like, hell yeah.
So
feel free to check that out on my as my custom subclass.
Right. So this fancy magical doodad over here that Cassia has informed me, I'm going to focus on it, and I think through my my available spells, and I begin to form what would be a zone of truth centered on it, but instead of finishing the spell, I focus that power into the idol or the structure.
Yeah.
Hoping that it will do it.
I need for you to roll a spellcaster ability check for me, sir.
Sure, I can do that.
Let's go.
Come on,
Your
man.
DC is 15.
Does a 28 beat that?
Wait, how did you get a 28 on a spellcaster ability check?
I rolled a 19 and I have a +9 charisma.
Hey.
That's your charisma saving throw.
Oh, you're right. Okay. All right, take 5 off of that. Does a 23 beat your 15?
I mean, it still succeeds. But come on, man.
Amazing.
So, let me find the correct one. Go. Jeremy, as Zorvir focuses this magical energy, getting just to the point of completing the spell, and instead just letting the arcane power of this dormant construct rune manifest and absorb the magic energy instead, you see this spark of power, kind of like if you've ever seen something that has been sitting still for too long in the cold, and it all of a sudden just jerks as it starts to move. That violent expelling of energy just erupts in the space around this demon that had been attacking it, and it alights with the magical energy, and you can see this almost magma-like power of light at its core. And this demon that is over here that was just attacking the thing turns and looks at Zorvir and hisses violently in his direction, as if he is very upset that you have undone all of the work that he just did.
I'm pretty sure
We got one!
It doesn't have the natural insight to know that I look worried, because, Zorvir face. This is my resting Zorvir face. But I'm like, oh shit. And
Nice.
that is everything.
Nice. All right. So, yes, your turn is over. As you alight that magical power, by the way, you see a burst of vibrant energy erupt from underneath of the shadowy behemoth in the inside of this rending ziggurat that is underneath of it, as you continue to, as you brace and empower this force. That brings us to, let's see, Kira's turn. Barrick's sister gets to take another turn, and conveniently, her 2 targets are lined up in front of her, so she is able to, instead of using the wand this time, she actually extends out a hand in the direction, her free hand, in the direction of the 2 of them, and you see this burst of arcane energy kind of erupt out of the holy symbol that is around her neck and channel down her arm, and as it's channeling, it turns into electrical sparks of energy and just blasts out from her hand as she unleashes a lightning bolt at these 2 monstrous beasts. So they have to make dexterity saving throws, which they are not great at. One of them did get a natural 16 though, so he is going to succeed, but the other one got a 9 total. So yeah, we'll say that the second one is the one that failed. The first one kind of saw it coming, so that's going to be a decent amount of damage here. Let's see.
Light him up.
Yeah, 37. That's pretty decent. Okay, that was 6. Okay, he takes half. Got it. And this guy is 5. Oof. So the one that had just attacked you, Barrick, as he takes this damage, you can see that he's looking pretty rough. His shadowy form seems to be showing some signs of not being quite as cohesive as perhaps it once was. And as you're looking, these things seem to almost exist in two phases, as if they are most definitely not native to this plane of this world, but also not native to this plane of existence at all.
Nice.
And that is going to move us along. We've got some horrors. So the one that, unfortunately, this time, Barrick, your sister is the juicier target. So this one here moves over, charging at Kira to unleash his horror-filled attacks upon her. So first one is a 17, which will hit. Second one is a 12, which will miss. And the third one is a 23, which will also hit. So that's some decent strikes here. First one doing 21 points of damage. And the second one doing 17. So as these strikes tear into Kira, you can see that she reacts very poorly to the impact of both of those strikes as it rends into her mind. You don't see any obvious physical wounds, but she screams out in agony, and she clutches the side of her head with a hand that she had just unleashed the lightning bolt with. She has to make a wisdom saving throw, which she does have advantage on, thank you to Jeremy, or Zorvir, I should say. So she rolled a 19, so she succeeds and manages to hold her fear within her and keep it from being yanked out from her. So then, let's see. Oh, so this one that you encased in the bubble there, Develian? Yeah, he's violently throwing himself against the side of the sphere. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the sphere is not immobile, right?
Yeah, it'll move when he hits it.
Okay, roll a d8 and a d6 for me.
Sure. They're both a 4.
Both a 4.
Yeah.
Okay. So, this thing moves, just pounds into the side, bounces off of the dormant rune structure, and bounces in the direction of Zorvir, rolling off towards him.
What is even going on?
American Gladiators, baby.
Yeah.
Something.
Hamster ball of doom.
And Acris, the one in front of Acris that is deathly afraid of being attacked by this seemingly powered up dragonborn. He is afraid for his life, and he's going to unleash not 1, not 2, but 3 claw strikes against Acris. First is a 25 to hit.
Yep, that hits.
The second is a 10.
Misses.
And the third is a 16.
Yeah, that hits.
Okay. So 2 of the 3 are successful. So you don't have any like resistance or anything to psychic damage, right?
No. Wait.
Waiting.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay. So
Or-
between
no, I don't
the
have any
two
resistance.
strikes, you do take 35 points of psychic damage. And I need for you to make a
Okay.
wisdom saving throw, please, which you do have advantage on, thanks to Zorgir. And you have
I
a
do.
bonus advantage d10 if you really need it.
I also have a +8.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a 17 on the die, +8.
You're
I think I made it.
fine. You are
Yeah.
feeling
Okay, cool.
yourself, feeling the power of Wow, I forgot your deity, Vimredal. Feeling the power of Vimredal coursing through you, and shake off any notion of being afraid of this monstrosity. Cassia, you are up, my lady.
Do all of the remaining symbols look equally beaten? Is there one that looks worse or closer to being shattered than the others?
This one next to Acris with all of the crazy chaos going on.
Great. I am gonna aim toward that one, and Cassia, thinks about it as she's gonna use a 4th level healing word, and she, healing word is sort of like putting a body back together in certain ways, and so she's gonna take that knowledge of putting something back together and channel that into this symbol.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a spellcaster ability check, which for you is wisdom. So just roll a wisdom d20 plus your wisdom modifier, please.
$17 on the die plus 5.
Okay. So as Cassia channels this divine power within her, unleashing it at the very last second without completing the effects of the spell, she sees before she feels this burst of energy surrounding this rune. It manifests, alighting it fairly violently, in fact, so much so that that Acris and the Fiend both feel the divine power kind of pulse from within it. And as she does this, you hear in the distance this shadowy behemoth unleash this horrendous howl as another burst of similar divine energy erupts from underneath of its form inside of the ziggurat, and you see its form almost being pulled down into the cracked ziggurat as the two ascendants, Ridehouse and Stonscar, are almost like leveraging themselves up on top of this thing, pushing it down further into the ziggurat, into its prison. You are fairly certain that if you can get this last rune lit, that you will be able to succeed in pushing it and keeping it inside of its prison. And that brings us to Barrick, the top of the round.
Yeah, so hearing his sister scream, it sort of activates something in him. So I'm going to activate his fighting spirit, which will give me 10 temporary hit points, but it also gives me advantage on weapon attack rolls until the end of the current turn.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to attack the guy in front of me. And because I have advantage, do I get sneak attack damage on top of that?
You do, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. That's just beautiful. So that is a 24 to hit.
That doesn't hit. I'm kidding. Of course it hits.
So that is 13 points of regular old damage plus 8 points of sneak attack damage.
Okay.
And he'll take another swing at this guy. A 20 to hit?
That also hits.
Okay.
As we've established, by the way, in earlier rounds, an 18 is sufficient to strike these things.
Gotcha. So that will be 11 points of damage.
How do you end this thing's existence from this plane before it fades into nothingness?
So he's attacking this being in front of him with two major swipes, but he's already looking beyond to the one that's attacking his sister. So he will then, for his last attack, use his movement to run up behind that one and give it the last strike. That's a 14, so it misses.
14. Was that with advantage?
I get advantage?
So you told me you had advantage on attacks until the end of your turn.
Miko, I get advantage. I don't know what you're talking about. That's a 22 to hit.
Yeah, 22 hits.
For a total of 14 damage.
Okay, nice. So it's a new round, and you did deal damage against this thing. So I need for you to make another wisdom saving throw, please.
Perfect. That's a 25.
You are successful. And you had advantage on that, not that you needed it, but you know.
Sure.
So you are now just totally blocking out all notions of fear, as the only thing that you're afraid of at this point is your wife, if she finds out that you let your sister die.
Yeah. Fuck. Yeah, that is a fact.
True facts. Let's see. That fiend is dead. I've got one more fiend in this group that is alive. If I can find him, where is he? He's not there. Hey,
Oops.
He's down here. So this one, now that this rune is shattered, comes running over to Acris and is going to attack Acris twice.
Attackris.
Yeah.
So sorry.
So the first attack is a dirty 20, and the second is an 11.
Oh, crap.
So the dirty 20 hits, right?
Yeah, 11 misses.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
So that is 14 points of psychic damage as this thing's claws tear into you, and you also, since it's a new round, need to make a wisdom saving throw.
What is that? Math is hard. 17.
You are successful.
Okay. Cool.
And then that brings us... Oh! So, on this turn, the shadowy behemoth lets loose this horrendous howl. And accompanied with this howl, a almost miasma of shadowy energy seems to tear itself out from this lava flow that has formed the crack in the floor that these creatures seem to have obviously emerged from. And I need for everyone in the room, the Ascendants choose to succeed. I need for everyone else in the room to make charisma saving throws, please.
You all,
I also choose to succeed?
you all still have bless, so add a d4.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Everybody
much.
except Develian has bless.
Is it against fear?
It is not against fear.
Okay.
Use that D4.
It is against possession, if any of you have any weird random things that can affect being possessed.
20.
Does that count as being charmed?
It is not a charm effect.
Okay.
Got an
So
18.
actually, I believe Cassia is immune to this because of her mask.
That's true. I also rolled a 28, so
Okay.
probably fine.
Yeah, you're fine.
That's a 13.
That's a
For
failure.
21.
That's a success.
Uh-oh.
Sorvir
24.
and Acris,
18.
you might want to roll that d10 that you've got.
Okay, yeah, let's do that.
Did you roll the d4 as well? For bless?
Yeah.
Okay. You might
Yeah,
want to
I
roll
did.
that d10. It is an advantage d10, so roll 2d10 and add the highest.
Oh, that's so good. Okay. 25.
Okay. I actually also
Not
need to
good
roll
enough.
for
Right.
Kira. You
Just
did
missed.
succeed, Acris. Let's see. Uh-oh.
Oh
Shout out to
no.
that
Come on,
advantage.
bless. So,
Sorry, barracks.
yeah,
Right.
both of the barracks failed. And you can all see enveloping their forms these shadowy essences that seem to writhe out of nothingness, and they are both now just covered in shadow, almost like they are like black and white filter versions of themselves. Beth, you are now required to attack your allies until
Okay.
something is done about this. Thankfully, for
Wait.
everyone else, Asker went first. So you got a little bit of time to deal with him.
Just kill me.
Acris, it is your turn.
Okay. Okay. I would like to move past these two guys to get within 5 feet of Zorvir, taking
He's
an opportunity
flying.
attack from both of them. How up in the air are you flying?
At last call, it was 15 feet.
Yep.
That still works. I want to go to that area.
Okay, so you're going to provoke opportunity attacks from the two that are adjacent to you?
Yeah, I'll take them.
Okay. The first one is a 22 to hit. The second
Yeah, I'll
one
take
is
that,
a
that's fine.
9 to hit.
Okay, cool. Just one hit. Cool.
So
cool,
that
cool.
is 19 points of psychic damage.
Okay. We're still good. And so that'll allow me to get over next to Zorvir, and you're still 15 feet in the air?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, beautiful. I still have
You still have some movement
okay.
left if
So
you're
I still
trying
have
to
more
move.
than because I don't want to use my action, because I feel like using what I want to do would be an action. Can I use the rest of my movement to try to jump and just grab him?
Sure. Give
With
me
the
an
power
athletics
of
check. Give me an athletics check.
Oh, sweet. I get advantage on that. So it's first one was an 18.
You're not raging,
Plus
so you
2,
don't
so
have
it's a dirty
advantage
20.
yet.
No, that was just my first roll. 18 on the die plus 2. I got dirty 20.
Okay. You know what? I will say that you leap up and grab onto Zorvir's ankles.
There's like the most
So
awkward
Yeah, go ahead.
squawk. Surprise.
It's Eric Cochran for what the fuck?
Right.
yeah, and then so with that, I just want to be like, just go with it, and I want to use my Mooncloth cloak to cast Thunderstep, so that we can get to the beacon that needs to be lit.
Nice.
Awesome. What's the
I'm like,
radius
I
on the
hope you don't
Thunderstep?
expect me to carry you, because that's not good.
What's the radius on the Thunderstep
No, I'm-
thing first? Because it does a
It's-
burst of energy
Yeah.
around it.
10 feet.
Okay. Go
10
ahead.
feet takes 3d10.
Yeah.
And
nice.
is there a saving throw?
Constitution.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. He failed. So go ahead and roll 3d10 damage for this horror that you left in your wake as you burst.
9. So it's 14. I assume that's still times 2, which is 28.
Yep. Nice.
Cool. So that horde takes 28 points of damage, and then me and Zorvir blink over to the rune, and I look at him and I go, "Do the thing! Do what you did before! Light it!" Like frantically, like, let's go!
So the other day, my wife and I are sitting out on the back porch, and we're watching this robin that had landed on our back fence, and it looks at us and it goes, and it poops. You just see Zorvir go. That's all you see.
It just takes a shit.
Right? That's all you see. He is wearing pants. But
There's suddenly an odor.
sorry, I killed Miko.
Oh,
You okay?
why did you say that right as I took a drink?
Yeah, so he's just taking a drink.
Oh god, I can't breathe.
Whew, my apologies.
Oh, please somebody clip that. Oh Jesus. That was amazing. Yeah. Okay. Are you done, Ian?
Would you count using that as my action, like invoking that power out of the cloak?
I don't know. Is it a bonus action or an action? It should say on the cloak or on the spell.
It's an action. It's an action.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an action. All right. I'm good. Yeah, that's me.
Okay. Nice. Okay. Back to the rounds at hand. That was brilliant. I love that. Develian is going to get attacked first by this extremely injured horror at the top of the thing. 15 to hit.
No.
And 23 to hit.
Yep.
Don't you still have shield up?
Yep. So I guess it won't. So my armor is 24 right now.
Yes.
All right then. Both of those attacks miss.
Thank you, Jeremy. It was so long, I forgot that was still going.
He has a third attack, but that still is 16, so that misses.
Cool.
So deflecting off of your arcane shield, these violent strikes getting blown away by the abjuration of your magic.
Develian's just like leaning on that pole.
I'm like Neo, just go, no.
Right? No.
So this one, down here at the bottom of the map, comes running over to this magical rune, and he unleashes a series of attacks on it. It stays alight, but you know that is how these things kind of heal the energy away from it, away from the runes. So try to finish what you're doing as quickly as you can. Develian, it is your turn, sir.
Okay. So in that moment where all that was going on, I look over to the fact that I'm getting attacked by these guys. I look over to that seal that is currently out, and because it's kind of going on at the same time. You know, I don't really notice that Zorvir's pooping while he's getting ready to teleport over here with Acris. So in that moment,
there.
I begin to have magic that I start to summon up into my body, and I look at that seal, and then I realize what's going on with Kira and with Barrick, and that magic. I know I can light up that seal. I can kind of end this right now, but I instead cast Steel Wind Strike. But first, I'm going to move away from these two guys. Yes, I know I'll get attacked. That's fine. I move away from these two guys, and I go about halfway between where they are currently standing and where Barrick and Kira are standing.
Okay.
and then as I get over there, I release the magic. So they'll probably have to attack me before I get over to there, though.
Yep.
I assume.
So first attack is a 10, and the second is a 15.
No. Okay. So then when I get over there, I release the magic, and what will happen is my body will start to shunt and move, and kind of like in a weird, crazy anime where all of a sudden somebody's here, and then they're over there, and there's like they teleport, and there's a quick slice, and then they're over someplace else. And I cut around between the two guys I was standing at and the one that's between Barrick and Kira. A series of deft attacks as a shinobi style flash between all of them, and I'm going to end, if whatever, however it goes, I'm going to do all of that, and then I'm going to, well, let me roll first. Let me make the narrative be correct here.
You have to make sure you're yelling the entire time.
It's over 9,000. Right. So you said it's an 18 to hit them, right?
Yep.
Okay, so that one will miss, that one will hit, that one will hit, that one will hit. Oh, last one's a nat 20. Yeah, baby. So, cool. So, yeah, so what happens is the one who is basically where I was standing, he was like directly above me, the one that was like super hurt. I miss him with that first one. Then I'm going to zap to the guy who's like just below him. He was on my like southwest, I guess you could say. Hit him, and then blast back up to the top one, and then zoom over to the one that's between the barracks, and then like jump and flip over him and like stab him again. So, because of the spell, hitting those guys, they each take 6d10 force damage.
What are you?
A blade singer, baby.
What even are you?
What is going on?
Oh, just wait till he gets to the crit.
Right.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Ooh.
Okay, so 6d10 is going to be 36. So they're each going to take 36 points of force damage. That one who's between the barracks is going to take that. Well, actually, hang on, because I've got.
So it was 36 damage to the first demon that you hit. The demon that's between the barracks took one normal hit and one critical hit.
And a critical, yeah, exactly. So I got to actually double that. So it's going to be one's 36, the other one is, what is that, 74, 72?
No. Critical hits for me,
Oh, that's right.
for you would be 6d10 plus 60.
Cool.
Jeez.
So 96, is that what you're saying?
No. 6d10 plus 60.
Yeah, 36 plus 60 is 90.
That's 120, right?
Well, oh no, I see what you're saying. You're using the 36 from.
Yeah, why not?
Okay,
I'll just roll
that's totally
the
fine.
same. Yeah.
Hang on, I just need to double check this other one real quick. Yeah, he is toast. So, do you wish to explain at all how you just completely obliterate the forms of these two fiendish creatures?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. So as I turn and I run, and like I said, I'm super fast because the blade song is coursing through me. My eyes are alight with a pale blue energy. My hair is actually standing up a little bit on end as I move. The quartz sword is just got a gleaming blue through it. And as I run and they swing past me without even trying to deflect it, I just, without looking, just pull the sword aside, deflect both the blows, and I run to that spot. And as I run to that spot, I jump and I turn and I go to swipe through the air, and it's literally, you just see me go over to the first one, to the second one, and I just zoom back and forth. It's like I disappear and reappear for a second in front of the next one. Just deft flourishing motions, and that final blow, like I said, I land in front of the one between the barracks, and as I stab him in the chest, I push down and vault up over his body, grab onto his shoulder, and ram the sword the rest of the way through. And as he drops, I land right in the spot next to him.
As you land, both of the shadowy forms of the barracks turn their gazes upon you.
I wink at them.
So they need to find.
Hey.
Sup?
So this fiend that is down here begins to attack this magically lit rune as well. The one that you had undone all of his previous work. He starts anew in an effort to try to drain the magical essence of this rune and free his master. It is now Zorvir's turn.
I'm not getting paid overtime.
Kind of. You are up, Zorvir.
I think Acris is like yelling at you right now.
Right.
Light the damn thing!
Your feet hit the ground. My feet hit the ground. My like overcoat kind of flips up in the wind caused by Develian like creating this vortex back there. Without paying any attention to that, I lean forward and I place my hand on this stone, and I am going to imbue it, or I'm going to start imbuing it with magic. I put a message into this intent that I'm enchanting this object. I say, "The hole is your home. What are you too good for your home?" And then I shift it and just imbue the stone with magic instead, using a 4th level magic mouth.
Okay.
To light it up.
I need for you to roll a spellcaster ability check, please.
I shall. Do I get the D4 for this for bless? I don't think so.
Saving throws and attack rolls.
Okay. That's a 17?
Can I provide the help action?
That you cannot provide the help action, but that is fine because the DC that beats the DC. So, as Zorvir channels the last or energy into the last of the non-destroyed runes, you all feel this critical mass of energy take place as the entirety of this cavern just starts quaking with power. The magma beneath that is kind of roiling up in the cracks in the ground just consume this space, and yet all of you don't feel the heat from it. There is a sense of knowing that you are all being protected in some capacity by the ascendants that are in the room with you. As the two ascendants kind of lurch their forms on top of this shadowy behemoth, pressing all of their divinely empowered might down into this creature, the magic of the ziggurat alights, and you see tendrils of this power wrapping around the creature, pulling it down into the ziggurat itself. And as they do so, Rydos, the elemental craftsman that has existed since the beginning of Ysterra as a world, takes his large hand and presses it upon the fractured ziggurat, and all of a sudden the lava flow that had been like pulsating in the room that you were lurching back from to avoid getting in contact with just charges towards where he places his hand and forms this divine iron-bound seal across the tear in the ziggurat. And as it does so, you can hear the howls of exasperation and pain from this creature, this shadowy behemoth being forced back into its prison. And as those howls erupt, the remaining fiends that you have been fighting howl themselves. The two barracks howl into the sky as well. And the forms of all of the fiends begin to slowly turn to ashen dust and get roiled about the room with the winds of power cascading around. The ashen forms of Asker and his sister return to normal as the ash gets ripped away from their forms and the two of them collapse upon the ground, breathing and conscious, but debilitated definitively from the from being overwhelmed and taken over by this fiendish monstrosity that had been trying to escape its prison. As you all stand in this space, the two ascendants, having done their portion of this task, turn and look over to you. Rydaus remains unmoved. His expressionless face, so difficult to read, and you hear nothing from him, but you feel this almost sense of gratitude in your minds as you gaze upon his giant form. Stonscar, on the other hand, speaks voluminously, his voice echoing through the cavern with immense power, so much so that you almost feel that you should be not standing in his presence, but yet you stand as you look up at him, and he looks down at all of you and says, "Thank you, mortals. You have done Ysterra a great deed today, and it is blessed knowing that all of you live among the people and can give us all hope for the world to come." And as he says this, he kind of raises his hand out towards you, his fingers drawn up, and just clenches his fist. And as he does so, you feel the ground beneath your feet kind of shaking for a moment, and you have this sense of what you might lose your footing, and fall over. And some of you do in fact fall over, as the ground itself kind of tears up, and you begin floating upon these fractured platforms of stone and mountain up towards the ceiling. As you ascend up towards the ceiling, another tear opens in the mountain, and you are drifted higher and higher into this tear. Seemingly by Stonscar's will, the mountain answers as he ascends you all back to the surface from whence you came. And that's where we're going to call it for tonight, because we are ridiculously over time. My sincerest of apologies to everyone in all of this, but technical difficulties alight for us all, and we thank you so much for your patience. Especially Deb thanks you all for her patience, because her internet sucks today. But that's okay, because we still got through. You were successful in preventing whatever this shadowy behemoth was from escaping, and now find yourselves back on the path, slightly interrupted from your original journey, but seemingly for a good cause, as there's no telling what that monstrosity might have done to the world had you not been here to help the two ascendants. So, we will end here for the night. We're going to do some hopefully quick introductions, as it were, give everybody an opportunity to say who they have been and where you can find them on the interwebs. And Beth, please, if you may, start us off, tell everybody who you are and all that great stuff.
Yeah, I'm Beth. I have been playing Oscar Barrick. Little bummed that I didn't get to attack my friends, but it's for the best.
Me especially, I'm sure.
I mean, you were there.
I think you should blame Ian for that.
No, I'm not blaming Ian for anything.
Yeah, I did my job.
He can't do anything wrong.
Don't say that.
You can find me on the internet at Beth Masco. I've got a hopefully very fun Barbie themed D&D game coming up on this very channel on the 18th, so be on the lookout for that. Perhaps some of these fine folks here will be playing in it. Hard to say, but yeah, that should be a lot of fun. So very much looking forward to that.
As are most of us. No comment.
Boo.
Thank you so much, Beth. It's been wonderful. Deb, while your internet is still holding, please tell everybody who you are and who you've been and where they can find you in the future.
Yeah, I'm Deb. I was playing Cassie Artezi, Knowledge Cleric. So glad that my internet stayed connected during the parts where I needed to speak. So, hopefully next week while I'm traveling, we'll be able to stay connected as well. I am here occasionally, gonna be in the Barbie game, super excited. You can find me on Instagram at @dsweats. And as always, this has been a blast.
Indeed. And the oos of the internet, my bro, Ian, please tell everybody about yourself and all the awesome stuff you got going on.
Hey everybody, I'm Ian. You can find me on pretty much all social media at your boy Big, which is YABOIBIG. And of course, I played Akris Shortdraken, the Dragonborn Warbarb. Who's just trying to survive, man. Just trying to survive out here. But yeah, honestly, if you want to know what I'm doing next, just make sure that you follow me on Twitter. I know upcoming this Sunday on Times Lord Wife channel, we'll be doing another session of our Dragon Rider campaign, which is so much fun. We just got our dragon eggs, so we're gonna be doing that.
Nice.
And yeah, we're out here having fun.
Hatching baby dragons in the future. That's going to be awesome.
Hopefully.
Jeremy.
Yeah. I'm Jeremy Hochhalter. You can find me here on this channel most of the time, or you can head over to Twitter at WHPubs. You can head to WHpublications.com for all my publishing stuff. And Sunday, Kevin, who's going to be introducing... You know what? I'm going to let Kevin explain that.
Host now.
I'm going to be on a thing on Sunday that Kevin's
right.
going to talk about.
Nice. All right. Well, let's just roll right into that. Kevin, what's this thing on Sunday you got going on?
Yeah, Sunday we're doing another great episode of We Get to Play, which is where we play a game that none of us have played before. So we're playing a really cool game called Street Wolves. It is a cool retro 80s. They're going to be cool, like I don't know, mercenary hero type people. It's kind of a parody of
cosplaying
Fast and
for
Furious.
it.
Yeah, we're gonna cosplay.
Or at least I am.
We're gonna be all 80s out. It's gonna be friggin' amazing.
Yes.
Cosplaying meaning wearing your normal everyday attire, Jeremy?
Oh yeah,
Right.
exactly. I look very 80s right now. I actually wish I had like a white suit so I could do the whole Glenn Guglia thing. With
Oh my
sleeves.
God.
That'd be amazing.
I'm gonna be Julia Guglia.
Jeremy, yes, thank you. Yeah, that'll be Sunday at 2. We'll be doing that, and yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. We have other stuff coming up next week too, which we'll get to that. But yeah, this has been fun. Thanks, Miko, for having us all. And can't wait till next time.
Thank you. It has been a ton of fun. Stick around, everybody. We're gonna go and raid Insomnia Night RPG here in a second.
Nice.
But before we get to that, yeah, I've been Miko. You can find me on the socials at @the_KS_GM, or if you're on Blue Sky, no underscores, just the OKS_GM. Thank you so much to all of my players, Jay and Peku for the awesome stuff, Tabletop Audio for the awesome audio, and DynamicDungeons for the awesome dungeon battlemap, because that was pretty epic as far as I'm concerned. Things in the future. I've got a lot of stuff this week. I am playing 4 games, or producing 4 games this week. Tomorrow night, I will be over at Guild Superior in a Shadowrun game with the awesome Bleak Season. Friday night, I'm going to be producing an awesome starting of Arc 2 for the La Nocturna channel with Kevin running the game. And that's going to be epic. Please tune in for that. We've got a pretty awesome cast going on. And then Saturday, I'm going to be back here running a one-shot that is going to set up the next arc of the Ysterra continuing campaign arcs as they were. And I've got a pretty awesome cast set up for that. It should be a lot of fun. Please tune in. Check out our socials for all of these awesome things. And I don't think I missed anything. Did I miss anything, Jeremy? Cool. Well, in that case, thank you so much, everyone. This has been wonderful. We are going to raid over here in just a second. And I will see you guys all soon. Bye.
Bye.
See you.